All right. Mistimed the music a little bit there, but that's fine. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Hello, hello. Welcome. Here we are. These guys are ready, so let's get started. We've got Stormrunner versus Hadriz, Skaven versus Greenskins. Go ahead and confirm with these guys. Hello, hello. Hopefully the stream holds up today. Right now we're holding strong. I did have a couple of little lag spikes there during the pre-stream, but right now things are looking okay. Welcome. Good to see all of you today. Tam and Ten in the house. Carcass, Rubber Duck of War. I'm not sure, Igor. I play this, so I'm actually my monitor is not technically 4K. It's like just a step down. It's like 3 something. I get pretty consistent good frames in that setting, and I have a 1070. And I just updated to the most recent drivers, and it's been pretty good. We'll see today how it holds up. I've kind of got my eye on some things over here, so right now it's looking good. That being said, I do cap at 30 frames. I could go higher, but again, just because of the way my setup is and the fact that, like, I look at my analytics, a lot of people are actually watching on mobile, which, you know, that yes, you may be able to tell to a degree, but honestly, like, how much more benefit do I get from going to 60 frames versus only using the resources to go 30? Anyway, there's a whole trade-off there. I could talk about that for a while, but hello, hello. Yeah, we'll see how it holds up today. See, I have a Founders Edition NVIDIA 1070. It's an old battleship of a card, but it still runs like a champ. I'm actually looking at getting it replaced here in the next month or so. Probably going to be dropping about 500 to go up to, thinking maybe like a 2080, honestly. We'll see. Weapon strength buffing is still bugged. That is correct, but I'm not sure if he knows. Let's have a look at the builds here. For the Greenskins, he's got Skarsnik, Rogue Idol, Night Goblin Shaman, no Black Orc War Boss, which is an interesting choice. Instead, he's got the Gobbo Big Boss, whole bunch of goblins up front, couple of Doom Divers, and some Flappas. Interesting choice all around here. Rusty Errors. It's a pretty light front line. I guess we're spending a lot on the Rogue Idol here, but the list, Sarmation, I can send it to you. Right now, you're pretty far down, like, let's see, 7? But, yeah. Yeah, I use the latest drivers. I just updated a couple days ago, and it's been fine so far. I mean, right now it looks okay. I have frame spikes whenever there's certain magical effects, like the Warp Lightning is one, for example, that typically I will have a big frame spike there. Blessing of the Lady, same thing, especially if there's like Blessing of the Lady or some other Lord or hero effect that hits like a bunch of units right at the start of the game. I'll get a big frame lag spike from that, but typically I get pretty good frames in this game. You are a star, Samation, but we don't want everyone else to know that, right? I demand preferential treatment. See, I'm trying to avoid the appearance of a conflict of interest as much as possible. But anyway, for this Skaven build here, got a Hell Pit Abomination, couple of Deathglow Bombardiers. Very interesting choice in this matchup. I'm curious to see how they do. We got Warp Grinders, yeah, Mortars, couple Rat Ogres, whole bunch of Chaff, a Bell, and Mr. Skrulkman. In your cabin. Well, your cabins, you requested a cabin 60 miles out in the woods. What did you expect? Anyway, The Idol's moving up on the side here, and the Idol's actually a pretty interesting choice. The Death Globes will do a ton of armor-piercing damage, but you can see the Doom Divers are focusing on the Death Globes right off the bat. That's definitely a good choice. And the Idol's going to come in here to start to chew on the Summoned Clan Rats. That's fine. But I'm a little bit concerned that this light Gobbo front line is just going to get absolutely crumped here. We can see the Death Globes starting to shoot in. And yeah, they are doing some good damage to the Gobbos. Granted, they are just Gobbos, but a nice cast to some Fanatics right down the line. Do some pretty good damage to the Death Globe Bombardiers, but yeah, those Gobbos are done for. Very, very quickly going to be routed away. And the Skaven probably just push forward and try and take out those Doom Divers if they can. This Rogue Idol kind of being way out on the flank here is not super helpful, and he's super slow. It's going to take him 10 years to even get close to this Skaven army. And to be honest, most of the Skaven units, even the ranged units, are faster than the Rogue Idol. Just barely, right? So they can actually run away and just kite from that thing. And yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Idol, if you couldn't tell. But here we've got the Globes firing, and they do some pretty good damage to those Rusty Airs, applying that debuff, which is not quite as good as it used to be. But yeah, the Skabo Big Boss being routed away here. Definitely would have liked to have seen the Black Orc Big Boss. I think actually is going to be really good in this matchup to support your infantry line. He hits like a truck against lighter armor monsters. Like, he'd probably trade really well against the Hell Pit actually on foot. And likewise, you know, the AoE immune to psychology will help support your front line and kind of help give you that that immunity to terror. But here, Clan Rats are faster than these Rusty Airs. They are going to be able to catch them. And yeah, these Clan Vulcans, Tail Slashers pushing back. Gobbos are going to use their Wa at this point and try and get some good work in, but all of these targets are still just so healthy. That being said, I mean, this Rogue Idol's also still completely healthy here, and he's just going to wreck those Rat Ogres. Oh man, one belly flop. Is that just one shot a model? I don't think so. We'll see. Another cast of some Fanatics here, going to chew through some friendly Gobbos as well as those Clan Rats, Skaven Slaves even. Really not doing too much damage there, but yeah, the Big Boss just being kind of thrown away here. Definitely wanted to try and conserve him, maybe just keep him back, use him to maybe chase some of these routing units off, but at the same time, the Doom Divers are still online, which is quite nice. I'm not sure what targets they're shooting at exactly, but oh man, here we go. Curse the Bad Moon. Beautiful. It actually does apply its debuff to a few units here, which is going to be nice, but mostly, yeah, it's just going to be a bit of a meme. Does some pretty good damage, I guess, to some various Skaven units. Clan Rat Spears there, taking a little bit of damage. And, oh, Skarsnik's using the Prada. Oh, and it doesn't do anything. Yeah, that's probably the worst item in the game. To be honest, if I had to pick a worst item in the game, I think it would be Skarsnik's Prada, which is a little bit sad. You know, he is a very strong lord all around, but that thing is just completely useless. Yeah, weapon strengths are currently, the weapon strength buffs are currently bugged. Creative Assembly is aware they're working on a fix, and hopefully we see a hot fix. There's actually a couple of big bugs right now. Hopefully we see a hot fix soon. But regardless, hey, Little Raven coming in with the 5. Thanks, much appreciated. It's a pleasure making the content for you guys. Right now, the Skaven are definitely in a pretty good lead here. The Rogue Idol pushing through, but just, you know, it's so slow. Like I said, the Skaven, most of their units are faster. They can literally just run away from the Rogue Idol, so I kind of question the pick in this matchup a little bit. It's certainly a fun pick, and anti-infantry, you would think, you know, on paper, anti-infantry, a giant anti-infantry monster would be good against, you know, a primary infantry faction, but because Skaven are largely faster than this thing, I mean, here, it is just going to catch some stuff, but oh man, if it steps on Skrulk, it will absolutely demolish him. But Skrulk's faster. I mean, 42 speed, he is quite a bit faster than the Rogue Idol. Trixie Traps being used to buff up his speed a little bit there. Also gets a bit of anti-large. Oh man, those Warp Grinders are going to get deleted, but here comes the Hell Pit and the Rat Ogres coming in to finish off the Rogue Idol. Oh man, look at this. I have never noticed this before, but there's actually like fresh Gobbos growing on this thing's butt. You see these little like mushroom things here? I forget what they're called. Anyway. Little fungus growing on the back there. That's just fantastic. Nothing like a little booty fungus. Yeah, I don't know. Fermented fungi, a lot of people are saying that it's, like, broken and overpowered. Honestly, like, I've watched and played a lot of games, and this might be my own bias as someone who plays a lot of, like, tournament players and, you know, also watches a lot of their games and stuff, kind of talks to them a lot. I've seen enough games where people play around the fungi and still win to not think that it's that broken. Like, I really don't. I do think it's too strong, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's, like, completely game-breaking, though. I've seen plenty of games where a good player kind of can play around it, right? But, yeah. I think his cost is balanced, yeah, Little Raven. I do think his cost is balanced. He's pretty strong, but if you strip him of all of his stuff, he costs more than most other basic melee heroes. Like, if you compare him, White Kings, Thanes are both 500, right? The Empire Captain's only 350, but if you compare him to, like, I think Nobles are like 750, right? I'd have to look. Scarvets. I don't remember them on foot. Like, you kind of have to compare some different stats around, but yeah, I think it's pretty. Yeah, a slight duration reduction would be fine. By the way, let's see. It looks like we're having a little bit of a frame spike there, losing a few frames. Okay, and it's fine. Might have a little bit of a lag there, but seems like it was mostly fine throughout the battle. Let me know in the chat, guys, if it's been bad. Right now, it seems like I'm getting some frame lags, but I think it was okay during the battle. Anyway, let's go ahead and get the next competitor queued up here. And let's see here. Just kind of checking around, getting some competitors lined up. Yeah, very expensive for a full kit. Very expensive for the full kit. But the thing is, I honestly wouldn't take his active abilities. I would only ever take him. This is just me personally. I mean, if you take him on the board, he has enough weapon strength that Heroic Killing Blow might actually be worth it. Once they fix weapon strength buffs, right now it's bugged, so definitely don't take it. But that being said, I personally will always forget to use his abilities, so I just take him with his passives, the AoE Immune to Psychology and the melee attack buff. Like, I think that's the kit that I'll take him with, so I don't have to miss-micro his abilities and forget to use them. But, yeah. Let's see here. And let me just jump over here real quick. Okay, we're just getting the competitors lined up here. Turin Mullet Army Blocker? No, I really should, though. I really should. Can I, let me see if he's up. If he's up, I'm gonna have him send it to me. Because that is amazing. Hype for the Ever Chosen, by the way, tomorrow. I'm super hype. Yeah, the +9 melee attack is a must pick. That plus the Immune to Psychology, I think, makes him a really good support hero, actually. And he's a support hero that also hits pretty hard. Like, he's kind of like a hybrid melee support, which is kind of nice. I like him quite a bit. Also, the Bane Mask. Bane Mask looks so cool. Giant's 1500. The Stone Idol is 2300 for the basic version. So I honestly think Giants are much more cost effective. Definitely much more cost effective. I actually am a big fan of Giants for a lot of factions, including Beastmen. But yep, okay. Frame lags seem to have subsided. We have dropped some frames, but it seems okay. Oh, yes, here we go. Turin coming through. Okay, here we go. Here we go. This is what we all need right here. Okay, so let's come here. And we'll add this. Okay, and da 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 da. Yes. Oh, this is amazing. Yep, that's the way it's gonna be. That's the way it's gonna be. Hype for the Everchosen. There wasn't social restrictions, I would love to be like there with them casting, but this is how it is. Okay. We got that. Oh, here we go. Whoops. Okay, gotta do this. And not that. Here. Here we go. Okay, and let's go ahead and get the map changed up. Sorry about this little bit interim here, guys, but we'll go ahead and do something decent. Like, let's do MP Harryote Ridge here. That's a good balanced map. Yeah, no, Turin's not actually playing today. He's just just wanted that for an army blocker. Okay, here. Da, 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 da. Yeah, right? He should. He definitely should use this for one of his thumbnails. Okay. Hey, what's up, Iris? Good to see you. Okay, holding steady. Oh yeah, Adris is a really good player. Yeah, I hope I don't get Turin's wrist issues. That would be bad. I feel for him. But yeah, super excited for the Everchosen tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of great players playing, so I'll be watching in the chat, cheering people on. Yeah, we still got quite a few people left. Still got quite a few people left on the list. Okay, let's go ahead and put on a little bit of music here, shall we? I probably could have done this earlier, but... Yeah, YouTube is having some issues. Hopefully... yeah, it's gonna be on... Yep, it is being casted, absolutely. Who do I think is favored to win the Everchosen? You know, it's hard to say. I'd have to kind of look at the bracket and see. I don't remember. Let's go ahead and talk about this here. Let me pull it up. Maybe we can do this here. Man, Twitter is so unintuitive. Really, really just not great. How do I even go to where I'm following people? Man. Here we go. Let's see. Where is the bracket? I don't know, have they actually released the bracket yet? I'm looking now to see if I can find a link for it, but I don't know if they have... I mean, it's tomorrow. It's gonna be on the official Total War channel, but I don't know... yeah. I don't see a player list anywhere. All right. Maybe they just didn't post it. I don't know. Rip, my son. Granted, my son's grand prize, like eventual grand prize, I think is equivalent to what they're giving out for the Everchosen. But let's see. You guys ready yet? Who runs the Everchosen? It's Creative Assembly. It's yeah, it's the yeah, Creative Assembly, the developer. Yeah, no, that's the last one. That's like not even the last one. That's the one before that, Little Raven, because I was in the last one for the. No, I think that's right, because that was for the Skaven and Dark Elves DLC, right? I can't even remember the name now. Shadow and Blade, that's right. Was that for Shadow and Blade? Or no? No, because there wasn't one for Shadow and Blade, right? We haven't had one since then, I don't think. Or was there? I can't remember. Yeah, I think it's old. I think that's because Professor Pipes. Yeah, that's an older one for sure. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure the last ever chosen was for just after Hunter and the Beast, I think. The one that I played in. Against Aerocrastic, right? I'm pretty sure that was the last ever chosen that we had. Right around when Gotrek and Felix came out, I think, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's all coming back to me now. I don't think we've had one since then. Spring last year. Yeah, I don't think they posted anything for this one. Okay, whoops. Looks like they're ready for me. Okay, let's do this. And we can fade that music back out. Okay, that was not great, but that's fine. Okay, just getting people lined up. Okay, and let's not forget Turin's beautiful face here, and let's have a look at the builds. Dark Elves versus High Elves, an absolutely classic matchup here. It looks like for the Dark Elves, we're going to have Hadriz, Supreme Sorceress, Lore of Shadows, Scourge Runner Chariots. We've got Repeater Crossbows here, some Witch Elves, a Chill Boy, King Knight Assassin, 3 Black Ark Corsairs, 4 Black Ark Corsairs, that is. Pretty interesting. Very interesting build overall. As for the High Elves, we've got a couple of Tyrannok Chariots here, Phoenix Guard, Lothern Sea Guard, Spearmen, Teclis leading the way, Swordmasters of Hoeth, and the Fireborn. So very interesting builds on both sides. Yeah. The Tyrannok Chariots are an interesting pick in particular here. I think they'll probably do pretty well against the infantry. Their shots do magic damage, which is kind of an interesting niche. I don't know that it matters a lot here. There's not too many physical resistance units, but I guess if they're shooting at like Witch Elves or something, they can do some damage. Does this guy have Web of Shadows? Yes, he does. Web of Shadows is going to be very good at taking out those Fireborn. If you can get in on them, it's basically like another free Soul Stealer, more or less. Enfeebling Foe, Penumbral Pendulum there. So interesting builds on both sides. I do think the Chill is going to be a pretty good call here. For the High Elves, I mean, 3 Lothern Sea Guards pretty good. It's definitely a way that he can deal with them, but these Tyrannok Chariots will get out-skirmished pretty hard by the, yeah, that's not going to be a good trade for the Tyrannok Chariots at all with the Scourge Runners here, so they're definitely going to want to pull back. And, yeah, or not, just continue to try and maneuver around, dodge those shots as much as possible. But they are going to land a few, and all it takes is a handful. Tyrannok Chariots really don't have a whole lot of ammo. In a counter-skirmish, it is absolutely in the Dark Elves' favor here. And, oh man, those Tyrannok Chariots just getting pounded. They're probably going to lose a model. They're not careful. Only 1,500 HP left. No models down yet, but a good volley there finishes off a model, and that's a pretty good amount of points down already. no healing or anything from Teclis, and a nice Penumbral Pendulum as green is just kind of sitting a little passively here. Overcast Penumbral Pendulum did a lot of damage to those Phoenix guards, so regrowth there will restore quite a bit of their HP. I mean, I guess they only lost, what, like 7 models there at the end of the day. Still, an Overcast regrowth, or yeah, Overcast regrowth is a lot more Winds of Magic value than the Overcast Pendulum, I believe. So I don't know. That's probably not the most cost-efficient trade in terms of Winds of Magic, but at least he can kind of recover a little bit from that. Dark Riders is kind of chilling up on the flank here, but I think the one issue is that, I mean, the chariots are going to be in the Dark Elves' favor, there's no question, and I'm a little bit dubious as to whether these Fireborn can really get the work done that they need to. Chill's coming forward now, going to get a nice doubled-up breath attack. Actually, doesn't hit those Spearmen too much, but a lot of damage on those Lothern Sea Guard, and again, Green's just kind of sitting passively back at this point, kind of allowing Hadris to dictate the engagements. That's really going to work against him here. You can see the Scourge Runner Chariot starting to charge in as the... nope, they nope out of that. They could have actually got a pretty decent charge there. As those spears were facing in the other direction, they could have got a decent engagement. But here, the Tyrannok Chariot's punching out to the side. We're going to get some damage on these Blackheart Corsairs. The Scourge Runner Chariot's going to do the bumper cars thing. Actually, more like... I don't know. Is there bumper cars with lasers or something? I don't know. Anyway, another Penumbral Pendulum there just absolutely wrecks those Lothern Sea Guard, completely destroying them. And Hadris is playing this very patiently here, playing off of the strength of his missiles, and just, you know, taking out counter-skirmish targets, and utilizing his units in tandem here. Great job kind of using the Corsairs to get in there. I don't know that they break the bracing bonus necessarily. Still charging in the front, not going to do too much damage, but here, nice Overcast Net of Amantok, a beautiful charge from the Fireborn as well. We'll proc the Kindle Flame from Teclis, and yeah, that's going to do a lot of damage to those Scourge Runner Chariots. The bumper cars also come in from behind the Tyrannox, so that'll be pretty good, but the K-Knight Assassin can come in here, pop his Web of Shadows, and do a lot of damage to these Fireborns, so let's see if he does that. Meanwhile, up on the high ground, the Chill of Sontarg decisively allowing the Dark Elves to win this engagement. Dark Riders can now pull up and around, get in behind this blob. And yeah, the Scourge Runner Chariots have taken quite a bit of damage, but here comes the Web of Shadows. Also hits the Tyrannok Chariots, which is great value, and a nice little breath there. The pathing on it wasn't the best, but at the same time did some good damage to those Phoenix Guard. They're also getting hit by that Web of Shadows, so just some really, really nice value from that K-Knight Assassin coming in here and just bombing all of these units. Even the multi-model ones will still take decent damage from that, so very nicely done. Teclis now charging in here. You can see the Dark Riders have pulled up with their crossbows. Probably, yeah, priority target on either the Phoenix Guard or the Swordmasters. Both are going to be good targets here, but the Chill kind of dives in to support the K-Knight Assassin. They can fight back-to-back somewhat, so they're not both going to be completely surrounded, but you can see the Fireborn here. Oh man, this is nice. Sisters of Singing Doom coming in for a rear charge, unleashing their Witch Cry, and that will enrage a whole bunch of these units, not allowing them to disengage, especially the Fireborn here. That's going to be very important. Teclis throws a Fiery Convocation. The Dark Riders are able to definitely dodge that, and it looks like Green is going to throw in the towel there. So, very nicely done by Hadris. Very patiently played, just going off the strength of his missiles there. We got to see a little bit of Tyrannok versus Scourge Runner bumper cars, which absolutely Scourge Runners are much better chariots. I like Tyrannoks, but there's no question Scourge Runners are some of the best chariots in the game, I would say. So, pretty good stuff there. Let's go ahead and get the next player in. Okay, is the stream still going? Let me refresh this here. My preview is not doing too hot, but the stream seems fine here. Okay, I think it might just be my preview. Is YouTube having an issue now again, of course, when I decide to stream? Anyway, let's keep going here. We're going to get Bilson added in. This. And... okay. Let me actually check the chat on my phone, because YouTube on PC is not cooperating. So let's go ahead and see if we can come over here and do this. And let's go to here. Okay, let's do this. Gotta love technology. YouTube is just the best when it comes to streaming. I'm not gonna lie, if my community wasn't already established on YouTube for streaming, I would move to Twitch, because I've been streaming there a little bit recently, and I have to say, like, it's just so much better. Everything is just better, because, yeah, you know, it doesn't just have continuous issues all the time, like YouTube does with streaming, but, see, now, like, when I come over here, then it actually works. It's, yeah, just YouTube. Anyway, let's go ahead and check in next few people on the list. So, next up, we've got Gobbo Slayer. And then, next up is Gobbo Slayer, then Poison Duck, and then Chobers. So, yep. Those of you guys asking. And let's go ahead and lock in the map as well. We'll do MP Cross, not Crossroads. Let's do Peak Pass. Twitch chat is better than YouTube chat. That is true. That is also true. Oh yeah, Twitch Prime subs, also a great thing. Yeah. Like, for other games, I'll be streaming other games on Twitch. Like, probably later today even, I'll be streaming some either Warzone or Civilization 6. I'm not 100% sure. But, yeah. Definitely give me a follow on Twitch. Twitch.com. Or twitch.tv, rather, /DovPlays. Yep, that is true. Twitch does delete your VODs, and I think what I'm going to be doing is recording my streams and then uploading the VODs to YouTube. I'm considering doing that. Or maybe just doing, like, highlights for those games. Just uploading, like, clip highlights, like for Warzone, for example, or like, you know, like Civ 6. Yeah, that's why the Total War streams will stay on YouTube for the time being, because I know a lot of people like to rewatch those, and I also like to go back and have my own archive, especially for Total War stuff, of battles, and, you know, especially like particularly good battles that I can reference back to and say, someone's like, oh, you know, how do I use this build, or can you give me a good build for this matchup? I can go back and point to something, especially memorable games, particularly memorable games, and say, like, look at this one. This is a good example of this concept, you know, whatever. Okay, here we go. Yeah, the local recordings, I don't know. I do need to get some more hard drive upgrades also, because they take up a lot of space. We'll see. I haven't fully decided what I want to do there. But let's go ahead and pop the blocker back up. Just to remind ourselves the beauty, the glory, the honor Alright, going Beastmen into Tomb Kings. Interesting choice. I don't know why Eltharion is so overpriced. He pays 200 points more for his Griffin than anyone else does, so it doesn't really make sense to me. I do think he needs a bit of a price reduction on his Griffin. I think on his horse, he's very cost-effective, actually. But, yeah, the Griffin is not great. Too expensive. $200 points for the factor of cool. Yep, that's how it feels. That really is how it feels. Absolutely. So I'm gonna be right back, guys. I'll go grab a drink of water, and I'll be right back. Okay, and I'm back. Looks like these guys are still not quite ready yet. But let's see. I think Grimgore is pretty good, actually, in certain situations. There are situations, basically, like, for me, I view Skarsnik now has a little bit of different utility, but Skarsnik and Grimgore are largely interchangeable. Basically, like, when you want... And with the Black Orc Big Boss now, this is a bit different, because you can get immune to Psychology on Skarsnik, which actually makes him really strong. But then that also means, you know, with a caster, then you can't necessarily take... They need stabbing, which is actually kind of a nice little balancing factor, I think, right? A lot of people were complaining about the they need stabbings on top of fermented fungi, but now it's like, okay, with the Gobbo, either the Gobbo Warboss or with Skarsnik, it's going to be worthwhile, I think, to take a Black Orc Big Boss alongside them to give them immune to Psychology. Yeah, anyway. It's interesting, though. Like, I would say Grimgore generally you'd want to take if you want immune to psychology or armor. Either of one of those two things, you want to take Grimgore over Skarsnik. In most situations, I would say Skarsnik's a little bit better, just because he has more utility with the anti-large. That AoE anti-large is pretty nice. And then they need Stabbin' is pretty good, but likewise, don't discount Your Next. Your Next is a super strong debuff. And, I mean, Grimgore himself is just a really hard for certain factions to kill. Actually, I would probably take him against, like, Tomb Kings, maybe Vampire Counts, although maybe not. I'd probably go with Skarsnik now with a big boss, like, standing next to him, an Orc boss. I actually really like the Black Orc Big Boss on foot. Yeah, I'm a big fan of cheaped out foot characters anyway, and the Black Orc Big Boss, considering he has 2 passive support abilities, Immune to Psychology first, which is huge for the greenskins, obviously, and then you also have the melee attack increase, which is also really nice. Like, even pairing him with a couple of Skulkers, actually, like, you know, if your Skulkers get a Smoke Bomb, he can run in there. They're not going to terror route immediately to whatever monster they're fighting, and they have a bit more melee attack to hopefully get the Opportunist Murder going to, you know, even increase them more. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Black Orc Big Boss. I think he's going to be a big staple. It'll be hard to choose now, though. Like, I think you'll see less of the double Gobbo Big Boss builds, and more like Azag with one of each boss, or like Wurzag with one of each boss. The replay I posted earlier today actually was Wurzag with 2 Black Orc Big Bosses, and that was pretty good, actually. I might try that or Azag alternately in a few builds, or obviously you could do the Spider Shaman on the the Shaman on the Spider, I should say. Spider Shaman with 2 Black Orc Big Bosses on foot to support the infantry fight. That's going to be pretty strong. That's going to be pretty strong against undead, especially, I think. I'd have to try it. I mean, on paper it looks good, but... list of new greenskins builds. Captain Melons, there's like an infinite amount of greenskins builds now that are probably viable, so I'm actually thinking this week I should do... I could do like a 4 or 5 hour, probably, build factory stream of greenskins. I'm not even joking. Like, that's how many things you can do. How many things are, like, semi-viable. But we could go through matchup by matchup and really kind of deep dive and talk about different things. And especially the matchups where both factions are well balanced. Anyway, let's actually talk about what's on the field here. We've got Cetra the Imperishable on a chariot. Up front, some Skeleton Horsemen archers, a War Kitty, Necrotect, a bunch of spears. And Hakara horses are a good choice. Like them quite a bit. Very cost-effective in a number of situations. We've got Carrion here. They're going to discover the Foul Pigs. We've got 3 Razorgore herds, still very cost-effective at 600 points. Minotaurs with shields. Also got plenty of spawn here. 4 spawn in the center. That's pretty good. Spawn are just such a strong unit in general. 5 spears up front, Koroks Manrippers, Morgur the Shadowgave, a Bray Shaman Lore of Wild, so pretty good stuff. The spawn, particularly in any of the undead matchups, spawn are going to be really, really nice. And you can see here, the Nekara Horsemen are a little bit of an awkward situation. They really don't have any good targets to go after, except for maybe these pigs. If they could get an engagement on the pigs, that'd be probably the best targets for them, but even still, I don't know that that's particularly going to go well for them. But, CA, don't do drugs, kids. Exactly. Cetra comes in, though, gets a nice explosion attack here that actually enrages some of the pigs, and he's now going to follow up with the spears. So a great play by Hadris to kind of force a little bit of an awkward engagement here with the Carrion, actually. Very nice. The Minotaur's now following up. You can see the spawns starting to charge in the main line. Spears, wet noodling spears. Also got a Cygor summon here. Not sure who he's going to throw rocks at, but probably I would go after these Skeleton Horseman archers. You can see he realizes the pigs are maybe a little bit of a lost cause, tries to plow these Minotaurs over to the side here to deal with the War Sphinx. Unfortunately, those spears are going to get terrified away, but the spawn obviously will continue to fight. So Hadra is going to go ahead and try and disengage there. I guess the skeleton, the Neckar horsemen, if they can get good charges on this chaos spawn, yeah, like right here, when the spears get terrified away, then they're going to get a pretty good engagement. Likewise, a spawn summon also coming up in the rear line here from Mr. Morgar. He needs to probably pull up a little bit closer and maybe try and pop the, the auto summon. But here, these Chaos Spawn taking a lot of Overwatch fire from the Skeleton Horseman Archers. They don't do that much damage, but in enough numbers, 4 of them is enough to probably pay for themselves at the end of the day. But these Spawn are now rushing back. They do have poison attacks, so the Skeleton Horseman Archers are pretty slow. They're down to 57 speed once they get poisoned. Nice little pick there. And these Spawn can now kind of follow up and try and get some damage done. Ooh, way downtown on that rock. Just barely missed. With the Cygor summon there, Morgar having to pull back to the Koroks Man Rippers. Great job, though. Koroks Man Rippers are in a position to try and support against the War Sphinx here. They're also just ripping apart the last of... Oh, yep. Yep, those Nehekara horsemen actually turned into Spawn. That's fantastic. The Spawn can now help support against the Kemrian War Sphinx there, provide some mass and poison in that engagement. Beastman pushing pretty aggressively. This flank is completely broken for the Tomb King, so we've still got, what, 2 completely healthy units of Spawn here, just about. Need to push up in this back and try and maybe get a full surround here. Skeletons crumbling in the center, though, honestly. Things are looking pretty thin for the Tomb Kings. So the Beastmen have pretty much decisively won over here, and now getting a nice timing push. I mean, both of the summons have been burned, though, at this point. I say both. There's still one more. Ooh, nice positioning with the Cygor summon. If he can now path over here with these Chaos Spawn, use the Cygor, switch it to melee mode, and run in and fight the Kemrian War Sphinx. Over here, the Tomb Kings are going to be summoning Shabti. Very nicely done to help block up some of those units. Block up the Spawn from actually getting in. I thought the Cygor would come fight this War Sphinx in melee, which would definitely be a good call, but instead he's just going to try and use the rocks throw, zoning out with the Ungor Spearman Herd. They can now pull back and help support the Chaos Spawn against the Ushabti. So Beastman actually looking pretty decent here at this point. This War Sphinx is going to be a bit of a problem, and like I said, I really think the Cygor should go try and support this melee engagement. Just use the mass to block in the War Sphinx along with the Spawn. The Spawn themselves, even though they don't have the best AP values in the world, they still will do damage to the War Sphinx. Incantation protection there, though, to give a bit of physical resistance as the War Sphinx attempts to pull away from this engagement. Same thing with Cetra. Cetra himself is going to be a menace, don't get me wrong, but the Spawn are a nice counter to him. The mass, and ooh, nice hit there from the Cygor on the Skeleton Horsemen, and I guess he doesn't really have a tool to deal with the Skeleton Horsemen, so rather than just taking the shots, you know, using the Cygor to continue to shoot here isn't honestly the worst call in the world. These Skeleton Spearmen, though, are a little bit distracting. Cygor's been taking some damage, and the summon's just about out anyway. But, yeah, these Spawn are taking damage. We've still got one unit relatively healthy here. And a few here also. So let's see. Oh, man. Wild, wild time. How's the stream doing over here? We dropping any more frames? Let's pull this up. Things are looking pretty good for the most part. The Horseman Archers are out of ammo at this point. They do get a pretty nice isolation. This is potentially dangerous here. He needs to definitely keep these Chaos Spawn alive and healthy. But, yeah, the War Sphinx now pulling around. It's going to try and get picks wherever it can on isolated characters, like this Bray Shaman here. Really nice job. Incantation of Cursed Blades. I don't know if Hadriz actually knows that the weapon strengths are not working right now, but technically this is not a great buff, to be honest. I mean, if you overcast it, it still does give the anti-large, which I think still applies, but I actually don't know about that. But anyway, yeah, the Spawn now run in, and with Morgar, Morgar's actually not a pushover, and these Koroks Man Rippers are fighting tooth and nail here. Let's get in close. Oh yeah, look at these big boys. Vestkor are a unit that are pretty awesome. You don't see them super often. Koroks Man Rippers in particular, though, with their glaives. This is such an awesome unit. I really like the weapon variation Regiments of Renown. They feel a lot more unique. Excuse me. But as it is right now, they're holding out, but they're kind of taking continuous cycle charges from Cetra, and these other Tomb King units, they're crumbling, but, you know, because crumbling is just such a balanced game mechanic, they're not crumbling that fast, right? And because the Tomb Kings are actually subject to leadership instead, you can see many of their units actually have been routed or shattered off the field. So just a little bit of a rough situation there. That's why you bring the spawn in the first place, but it looks like Beastmen just don't quite have enough in the tank to finish things off here. The Tomb Kings just finishing strong because of that crumbling mechanic. And I almost wonder if he wouldn't have got a good surround on the War Sphinx with that Cygor summon and the Chaos Spawn, if he would have been able to finish off the War Sphinx and prevent as many terror routes. Maybe this would have gone a little bit differently. It's hard to say, but regardless, very good game. Nice back and forth. And Beastmen, it's always kind of tough against undead factions because of the leadership issues, right? So yep. Anti-large still works. Okay, good to know. I definitely think Beastmen can fight undead just fine, and a build like this, like, I think Bilson had all the tools that he needed. Just a couple of misplays, like, honestly, getting a good surround with the Cygor summon on the War Sphinx, with the spawn and the Cygor, and just finishing off this War Sphinx to get the source of terror off the field, I think would have been the key. And at that point, I mean, I think the Beastmen can mostly run shot. Getting the piggies caught at the beginning, that was a really nice play by Hadriz to utilize the carrion there, just sacrifice them, run in with the spears, and, you know, also use Cetra's explosion and everything. That was a beautiful play. That was quite a bit of points, but, I mean, that's only, it's like 1,800 points. It's quite a bit, but it's not the end of the world. And with this many spawn, and the Minotaurs in particular, I feel like Bilson still had the tools that he needed to finish things off. But that's a very good game. Very, very good game. GG indeed. And let's go ahead and get Gobble Slayer in here. Actually, I agree, though. No, I agree. Ungor Raiders, I think, are really strong in just about every situation. The thing about Carrion is they can try and fight the Ungor Raiders. They don't really have that great a melee attack, though, and because there's only 18 models, there's 100 and, what, not 120, 90, I think, right? 90 Ungor Raiders. And they actually have pretty good attack stats, like, right at the beginning, when their leadership is high because of the Beastman's faction trait, that not primal instinct, I forget what it's called. Anyway, let's go ahead and get the next map locked in. We'll go for let's throw a bit of Storm Demon. I don't know, I actually think like two Ungor Raiders is essential in most matchups. Yeah, Carrion don't have enough model count, exactly. Yeah, it's not going to go great. I mean, they'll tie down the Ungor Raiders, I think, but I do think Ungor Raiders probably beat them in melee. Let's see here. Just checking on some things. Okay. Got Gobble Slayer in. Yeah, Beastie Boys need some of the love the Greenskins got. I definitely agree with that. Definitely agree with that. Eastman's DLC would be very, very welcome. I would definitely buy that. Throwing axes are okay. The problem with throwing axes is they're pretty expensive per model. They do a lot of damage, but they're pretty expensive per model. And so because they're pretty squishy, it's easy to lose models. And once they do, it's hard for them to really pay for themselves. And a lot of factions too, if they have enough healing or like defensive buffs on their stuff you want to be throwing axes at, like oftentimes you don't have enough ammo to pay for themselves or to do. Maybe they'll pay for themselves, but you can't finish off the targets that you need to because you just don't have enough ammo, right? You just can't. You don't have enough potential damage, is what I should say. Maybe a better way of putting it. Go ahead and ready up over here. Make sure they know that we're ready. You know what, actually, I'm gonna feed my cat, and yeah, I'll put on some music in the meantime. Put the screen blocker back up. And just a second. Oh, good. I put the music on, but failed to actually turn the volume up. Oh, nope. Nope, it was actually playing. Okay. It was in between songs. a little freaked out for a second there, but anyway. Okay, we're all good. All right. High elves, I think, are in a much better place, actually. I still need to play around with them some more. The biggest things is the lores of magic. Like, there's still quite a bit to be explored there, I think, but, yeah. Oh, the ladder system is kind of whack, I'll be honest, but... Yeah, the Wood Elves campaign, I agree, definitely also needs some love, but looks like these guys are loaded in quick, so let's go ahead and just get straight to the fun here. Get the screen blocker off of the screen, and here we go. For the High Elves, alright, a Lithanar, and a Life Mage, and a Metal Mage. Very interesting. Also got Archers up front, Rangers out here on the flank, Silverin Guard, and some, yeah, 5 Silverin Guard, very nice. Flamespire Phoenix, and a couple of Dragon Princes. Interesting. I like this build quite a bit. Up against the Greenskins, once again, we've got the Spider Shrine. No heroes. Interesting. We've got some Boar Boys, Savage Orc Boar Boys, Biggins, rather, both. We've got Goblins up front. 8-Peak Loons, Stone Trolls. And, yeah, Nasty Skulkers also. Interesting. Aw, yeah. Lithanar's an interesting choice. Against Greenskins, he might be a little bit at risk here. We shall see. But let's have a look at these Boar Boys up close. Man, Boar Cavalry are just hilarious. Look at these pigs. Especially the Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins. Quite strong, actually. Now that they have their anti-large bonus and 63 charge bonus with good armor piercing damage, but a beautiful Moonbow coming in from Lithanar. Steel Chair just takes out a bunch of models. That's a pretty relatively expensive unit for the Greenskins. I mean, 1,100 points. It's not too much. But the Stone Trolls, Lithanar, let's see. Yeah, this is going to do very little damage to the Stone Trolls. I really don't think that's a worthwhile target to shoot at for him because of this missile resistance and the fact he really doesn't do that much missile damage to begin with. Yeah. Oop. A little bit of a VTOL dodge. Nicely done, dodging that Vindictive Glare from the Great Shaman. And Dragon Princes just chilling on the side here, waiting to react. Whatever comes for the Greenskins. I like to pick with Lore of Metal. Just Plague of Rust there to help debuff the Spider. The Goblin Great Shaman, actually, the stats are still the same as what the Ragnarok Spider was before. And 150 armor still, so even with that Plague of Rust, it'll be at 90. It's still going to be pretty decent. It'll certainly help quite a bit. You'll get a bit more variable damage, but still better than just straight up not doing very much damage at all. Lithanar picking away here, now realizing that he can chip models from these Boar Biggins and not have to worry about those Stone Trolls too much. Again, though, the Plague of Rust on the Stone Trolls and now shooting, but because of the missile resistance, it really just doesn't feel that great, right? I would just let them fight the Silverin Guard in melee, if anything, although the Plague of Rust certainly will help the Silverin Guard stand up to this charge, maybe punch back a little bit harder, but a beautiful cast of Fanatics right down the line here. wrecking those Silverin Guard. Kills, what, maybe like 20 models there? That's really, really nice. Dragon Princes do get a good countercharge, though, on these Orc Boar Boy Biggins. Over on the other side, you can see the same thing. The Dragon Princes are taking some damage, but the Phoenix supporting this engagement along with some Silverin Guard. Nice sneaky stabbing, though, on the Savage Orc Boar Boy Biggins with their anti-large hitting at 46 melee attack now as well. Bit of healing on the High Elf side, but a nice timing push with all across the field now being cast for the Greenskins, obviously. Nasty Skulkers actually will trade pretty well against Silverin Guard if they can get some kind of attack buff, and certainly that 50 melee attack will be decent. They still don't count as winning, though, unfortunately, so no, what is that, whatever it is, the Murderer debuff. That Opportunist Murder. That's it. That gives them a little bit of extra attack in that situation. But over here, these Boar Biggins do end up giving out. They probably traded, I don't know, actually, if they traded cost-effectively against those Dragon Princes. As it is, the High Elves are able to pretty decisively win this engagement, and just the Dragon Princes with a nice charge here, dealing damage to those Stone Trolls. Quite good stuff. Meanwhile, in the center, the Spider is creating issues, to say the least. Going after these various mages here, various characters, just bullying them, preventing them from casting spells, and nicely done with the Metal Mage here to kind of separate her from the pack. That Vindictive Glare is not going to do too much damage, unfortunately, but still can push forward and try and use the Spider in melee to take it out, the ranged attacks as well. That being said, the Greenskins army is definitely suffering here. Night Goblins trading okay against these Rangers, but the Rangers will do a lot of damage there. The Skulkers in the long run did not beat those Silverin Guards, so it's just kind of tough. The Spider's kind of the one bright spot here, but taking out this healer will definitely be good. Either of the casters would be viable targets, but things are just looking kind of grim for the Greenskins. Dragon Princes have done a great job ping-ponging around to different places in the battlefield, getting charges when they needed to, countercharging, and not getting hit too hard either. The question is now, can they hold out in this engagement? The Spider really hasn't been able to support against the Dragon Princes. It's largely been supporting the infantry engagement, which is pretty good for the High Elves. The Silverin Guard just held out so well here as the Greenskins kind of washed up against their lines. And the Night Goblin Shaman was a good choice, but again, I almost wonder, with the Black Orc bosses, I think they do have pretty good splash attacks, so I haven't really tested them too much against infantry, but I'd imagine they have high enough attack and good enough splash attacks to hit the Silverin Guard pretty consistently. So I wonder if you just had brought a couple of them in. The Stone Trolls are really good in this matchup as well. I definitely like them, but I don't know. I have to kind of think about this build. Maybe go a bit lighter on the boars and just bring Light Cav instead, and then bring a couple of the big bosses on foot to just help stabilize the infantry line a little bit, get that immune to psychology as well, so the trolls sustain a little bit longer. They can also get in, and against the foot characters, especially like those two mages on foot, if you could get on them with a couple of orc big bosses, they would have absolutely cleaned up shop. And High Elves in general, I mean, they don't have the best armor piercing tools, so 110 armor infantry character that's shielded and pretty tanky, a 55% missile block chance would have been pretty nice. But as it is, High Elves are able to win the day with Lithanar actually trading pretty well against the Cav, doing nicely as kind of a mobile bolt thrower. Beautiful Dragon Prince play as well. 5 Silverin Guard holding the line. It's a pretty nice build, to be honest. Nice Lithanar usage is approved. Yeah, Dragon Princes, quite good. A lot of people say Dragon Princes are terrible, but they are absolutely not. They're just very micro-intensive. They have super high charge. You can get them in the right place at the right time and not get them killed. They'll do a lot of damage. That's good Dragon Prince micro is what that is. Yeah, the Greenskins Cav, it's pretty good. It's still a little bit squishy for its cost. And it's still, the main downside is the slow speed. The fact that greenskins are just, by and large, the boars, they're not fast. They're really, really just not fast. I don't know. You see the one that got absolutely cleaned by one cast of Fanatics? Like, there's stuff you can do against Silverengard. I definitely don't think they're broken at all. I mean, if you call them broken, then you'd have to call Longbeards even more broken, because Longbeards are cheaper and they actually have better stats. Alright, let's get the next competitor lined up. Just checking some things here. Poison Duck, if you are out there, let me also send you a PM real quick. Oop, that was a little bit ham-fisted there. What am I doing? This one. That's not a good comparison, Tank. I'm sorry. Marauder Great Weapon Champions are one of the worst units in the game. You're like, oh, well, they do bad against the worst Great Weapon Infantry in the game, maybe. Oh, well, not really a surprise. Great Weapon Champions are terrible. Norska has a bit of a problem with Silverengard because you don't have that great of tools for killing them, to be honest. You can, though. Don't get me wrong. You absolutely still can. And, there are a few different things that you can do. But, like, a Mammoth Side Charge will still do plenty of damage to Silverengard, regardless of their Expert Charge defense, or even, like, charging them in the front in many situations. You can just delete them, right? And, yeah, that's... Yeah, my pleasure. That was a good game. That was a good, definitely a good game. Nice. Spider Shrine. I'm a huge fan of that guy. That is not a fact. That is an opinion. Because, yeah, that's your opinion. That is not a fact. If only we got Skycutters. Skycutters would be a weird one to try and balance. I mean, if anything, if we look at like the Gyro Bomber as an example, like a longer range Gyro Bomber, but that's somehow squishier. I mean, the Gyro Bomber is already the lowest HP single entity model in the game, but if you were to make one that's longer range, maybe lower armor and slightly lower HP, but with like a single like bolt thrower type shot, I don't know, like maybe you could balance it in, but it would be a tricky one for the high elves. It would be a tricky one. If you did kind of like a like a long slash intermediate range, maybe like something to the length of maybe like a Jezzail or a mortar, something like a Poison Wind mortar, something like that. Anyway, I need to pick a new map in here. Let's see. Like, you could balance it in. It would just be tricky, though. Let's do Oghamshar. That's a pretty good map. Here's the thing, yeah, they're only 44 leadership, but all you need is one good cast of the Fanatics on a higher value unit, and you can pay for them in one cast. Like, or even like if they route away and then come back in the late game with their stock because your opponent hasn't chased them off, and get like one good cast in the late game, that can be enough, right? It can be enough. I still would say you don't want to bring probably more than 3 or 4 Fanatics because it is very micro intensive, but like, even the 500 cost ones, I think, are very, very good. But it is micro-intensive, and what that also means is people can make mistakes with it, and they can also just fail to use it, in which many cases they're not going to get value from it. So I like things like that are... that reward skill, that, you know, that are a bit of a risk reward, because like you said, they do have low leadership, and like one good charge or one good volley from certain types of units will just route them off almost straight up. I typically chevron mine just because with builds that I usually run with gobos, I'll go a full 20 stack, and I'll usually have some funds left over to bump them up to like maybe rank 3 or 4. At least, and then at that point they have a little bit better leadership. They're a little more likely to stick around to at least get like 2 Fanatics casts. And I mean, yes, you are paying a little bit more for the chevrons, but yeah, let's see. James Rye, that would be because of your graphics settings. So if you go into graphics and look at your unit size settings, oh yeah, HGM. I have thousands of hours in this game, and I never, ever, I'm being sarcastic, by the way, in case you couldn't tell, I never, ever do that, ever, right? Come on, like, even people, I was having this discussion the other day with a few other, like, top-level players. Everyone makes mistakes in every single game. Because of the way Total War is, like, even in games where you win decisively, there's always something you could have done better, right? There's always potential mistakes and, like, different decisions, and people might say this was better than that. And even in the top levels of play, I would say, you still see mistakes. Like, I remember after the previous Everchosen, Belcon actually, like, we all sat in a voice chat together, and he went through each of his replays and, like, talked about all the mistakes that he made, talked about, like, you know, what he did right, what he did wrong, and even in those top-level play games, there are still, like, what some people would say are pretty fundamental mistakes being made, but at the same time, like, you're managing so many different things at the same time, like, you can still recover from mistakes, and it's oftentimes not the end of the world. Like, I don't know. People make mistakes in every single game, though. Yeah, you too, by the way, Tank and HGM. Let's, I've had enough of the discussion here, so you can take this now to the forums or something, if you want to argue about the balance of Silver and Guard. Yeah, we're done with this discussion. Silver and Guard are good, but they're not overpowered, and that's it. That's my stance. And now we're going to talk about other things. War Dancers. Are they the coolest infantry unit in the game? They might actually be. They're up there, probably in the top 5. Oh. Oh. Goji's gonna Crumpagit. Don't make Goji Crumpagit. There we go. Okay, and here we are. We've got front line of Dryads for the Wood Elves. Is that a Glade Lord? Yep, a Glady. Of course, on horseback. Is she on horseback? Yep, on horseback. Also got a Spellsinger, Lord of Beasts. Hawkeyes, very nice. Some Wild Riders. What is this? 5 Glade Guard, probably? Yep, 5 Glade Guard, Starfire Shafts. All of them. And we've got some Eternal Guard here. And, yeah, that's it. Oh, man, up against Vampire Counts. This is an interesting one. This is an interesting matchup for Wood Elves. It looks like both of these players decided not to go super degenerate, which is I am grateful for. But we've got a Von Karstein Vampire Lord up in the air here, going air to air with the Terrorgeist, and a Vampirus Lord of Death, just Spirit Leech. We've also got a Mortis Engine, a couple of Black Knights, Verex Reavers, no Blood Knights, very interesting choice. Skeleton Spearmen, Skeleton Warriors. Oh man. Yeah, this is an interesting one. I do think that this Terror Goose is in very, very grave danger. Ha! Get it? Grave danger? Anyway, Starfire Shafts, though. Fire damage, armor piercing, and, of course, the missile resistance and snare of the Glady. That also all applies to the Mortis Engine as well, right? So, Hawkeyes can also come in and delete the Karstein Lord, so I'm a little concerned about this Vampire build, but at the same time, if he plays off of the Cavalry, this is what I was saying, I'm kind of surprised not to see Blood Knights here, or any Corpse Carts. I think that's probably a mistake as well. I've played a lot of Vampire Counts because I hate them so much, just trying to figure out, you know, how to make them better, like why I hate them, like what are their redeeming qualities, and Corpse Carts I have found in my experience to be super essential. You need at least an Unholy Lodestone, I think, in just about every build. Other people might disagree with that, but I think at least you need 1 Unholy Lodestone. I often like to run like 1 or 2 other Corpse Carts as well. It's like a regenerating zombie that gives all of your units nearby +5/+5, basically, right, is the way I look at it. Like, it's only 250 points for the basic one. It regenerates, like, your opponent probably is going to dedicate resources at some point to try and kill it, which is basically a waste of points. It has regeneration. It's like a tanky, maybe not tanky is the right word, but high mass, you know, like single entity chariot model thing. Like, I don't know. I think 1 to 3 Corpse Carts is essential just about in every build. Totally understand, Sauce Bros. I get that vibe for sure. Yeah, not seeing Blood Knights. That's what I was saying. Blood Knights are such a good unit in this matchup. They literally counter, like, almost everything on the Wood Elves roster. They're even, like, a soft counter to the things that they don't hard counter, but oh man, this is a mistake. This is a mistake. The Charm Shield. He has Missile Parry. He actually has a Silver Missile block chance, but that's not mattering too much. The Charm Shield damage resistance is helping quite a bit. Prey of Anathrema is gone now. And, wow, actually, he tanked out that damage with the Charm Shield surprisingly well. I thought he was a goner for sure, but has taken a ton of damage already and needs to move out of this area of effect. I don't know what he's doing hanging around right outside the edge of this range. Just get back. Get out of range and let the skeletons take the shots as they advance. That's what they're here for. Verex Reavers can also start to advance here. Terror Goose, now that the prey has been burned, you can play a little bit more aggressive with the Terror Goose, but yeah, Verex Reavers, other infantry just need to punch up in the center, immediately plow through these Dryads and start to get on this backline to disrupt, but the Goose has taken a beating here. Absolute beating. We do have a Fate of Buna, or Spirit Leech rather, against these Wild Riders, but oh man, nah. See, again, a little bit of a mistake here. These Black Knights charging in, trying to go after the Wild Riders, but really they just need to punch back and get at these ranged units here. We do have a Wild Zombie Summon coming down here. The Karstein Lord getting back and starting to bog some things down, but oh man, this is super dangerous. Manticore summon now being used, and because Pegasus units actually have like the lowest mass of some of any units in the entire game, he can't even pull through Wood Elves, which are actually some of the lowest mass infantry in the game. Kind of hilarious. Can't pull through Wood Elf infantry to get himself free back up in the air here. Does a little bit of a splash attack, and finally now is able to disengage, try and get away. I don't know, that Manticore didn't actually go after him though, which is an interesting choice. He probably could have finished him off right there. I don't know, Manticore actually dropping down here over this other hero, but now the Karstein Lord able to get in here. The Hawkeyes do have a smoke bomb, which they now use to tie down the Karstein Lord. His speed is significantly debuffed. Nice work with the Cav now. Here, this is what I mean, punching back, getting through, disrupting these Glade Guard, not really worrying too much about the Wild Riders, just really focusing on mopping these ranged units. As the Vampire Counts, they are an all-melee faction, right? So you're always going to have more units than your opponent has units to protect their ranged. So you can pretty much always get on top of their ranged units if you play your cards right. Here, it looks like we've got another Prey of Anathrema. What is this, on the Karstein Lord? And now the Manticore is going after him directly. That's what I was saying. He probably can win. I'm not sure. Manticore does have a really nice charge bonus and decent attack animations, but in sustained combat, it's not the best. And really nicely done here by Poison Ducky responding with the Black Knights to get that Manticore zoned, maybe get this Karstein Lord back up in the air. Manticore is now enraged as well. The Glady's also caught up in this engagement, so things are looking a little bit dicey for the Wood Elves. What initially was looking good for them. Hadri's definitely got some good snipe attempts, but Poison Ducky able to sustain and push through with the Vampire Counts and get in here, disrupt like he needed to. Nice Walk of Doom, though. Going to be doing a lot of damage to all of these various Vampire Count units. I do think the lack of healing could potentially come back to haunt the Wood Elves at some point, but a lot of their periphery units are starting to come back here. You can see these Glade Guard coming back. Black Knights are pushing out, trying to chase routing units as much as they can, whereas the Wild Riders will respond. These, yeah, finishing off the Hawkeyes here with the Varix Reavers pushing back, finishing off like these Glade Guards as well. Varix Reavers in particular, they can kind of regenerate as they're running around and mopping up those routing units, so that's a pretty good situation for them. Meanwhile, in the center, the Karstein Lord's gotten a hold of the Glady. She's completely surrounded by zombies and skeletons and Black Knights and just all manner of horrible creatures. Not a good situation for her to be in. She's probably going to get routed off here, I would imagine. Currently wavering, and yep, there goes the rout. So the Dryads will continue to fight in the center there. Honestly, I mean, the Black Knights in Cycle Charge can probably kill them, but there's really not a lot that will do a lot of damage. Here, the Varix Reavers getting a nice charge, finishing off those Dryads. And yeah, the Spellsinger also getting finished off by the Vampirus. So Poison Ducky looking to be unseating the king, and Hadris, having been on the throne for quite some time, facing elimination here as the foul undead once again proving to be superior to the lowly mortal races. What is that, 2-0 for the undead today? Yep. Varix Reavers I do like quite a bit, though. Not the biggest fan of Black Knight's models in general. They do just kind of look like skeletons in pajamas with a little bit of armor thrown on top. Or nightgowns, maybe, is the right word I should use. But they are a really good unit, and I do like using them, certainly. Kind of a nice mid-tier regenerating cavalry. Shock Cavalry, which I'm a big fan of. But yeah, great showing by Hadris. Really nice nice battle there. Great job by Poison Ducky, too. Kind of stabilizing. He even lost his Mortis engine early on, but it didn't end up mattering as just this rush. And as I was saying, playing off of the cavalry, 147 kills there for the Varix Reavers. Hadris really didn't have a great response for them. I mean, maybe using you know, all these missile tools to go after him, but at the same time, just the target saturation from Poison Ducky between his Lord, the Vampirus, and obviously these two, especially the Terrorgeist and the Mortis Engine, big high-value targets, means that the Varix Reavers kind of slip in under the radar a little bit and are able to just mop up the lines, absolutely going to town on this Wood Elf ranged contingent here. 96 kills on the Wild Riders, pretty good stuff. 30 kills, XP chevrons there, but yeah, great game, great game. Nicely done. Daddy Durthu. Yeah, Daddy Durthu's the way to go. I was going to say, Poison Ducky really didn't have any tools besides the goose for dealing with the tree. So if you would have swapped in... There's a way you can bring, like, instead of bringing the Spellsinger Laura Beast and the Glady, you just combine them together. Maybe drop, like, one Glade Guard, maybe one Wild Rider, something, one Dryad, I don't know, and just bring Durthu. That would have been it. That would have been really, really nice. Let's see. So we've got Chober up next. Okay. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and do this. And once again, my preview is having all of the issues because YouTube is just the best. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get this out of here. Let's update the list. Okay. And let's do this. Here we go. Okay. Oh yeah. Sure. Let's do this. Oh, and my chat's gone. That's just amazing. YouTube, please. There we go. What's a good way to start in the multiplayer scene? Absolutely. Let me go ahead and grab a link for you here in this Discord. So there's a Noob Hammer Discord. I definitely recommend this one. A lot of helpful people to help you construct builds, sort of learn the matchups. So let's go ahead here. You can join my Discord, of course. Absolutely. There's this Discord, is the Noob Hammer Discord. Let me go ahead and direct these guys, sorry. Let's go ahead and get this locked in here. Yeah, no. You can just jump into quick battle, and I mean that's a way to get some practice, but you'll run into a lot of cheesers, and especially on the lower end of ladder, from what I've heard, you run into a lot of like corner campers and just weird stuff. So I would recommend you do want to play ladder, but I would recommend jumping in with a few other like kind of newer players, and especially in the Noob Hammer Discord. There you can find games to like have multiplayer lobbies with. That's probably the best way, is to have hosted lobbies. I mean, like I said, quick battle is a good way, and if you just kind of trying to get a couple quick games, you know, if you maybe have like half an hour free before you have to go to work or something, quick battles is a good way to get a quick battle, believe it or not. But yeah, like if you have some time that you want to sit down and really try and learn, the best way to jump in is definitely to jump on one of the community discords, find some people to play with, and kind of show you the ropes, and that will be, yeah, that'll be the thing to do. Yeah, it's pretty fun. It can be pretty fun, for sure. Yeah, yeah, that happens, Guac. That happens. Um, hopefully, hopefully the video I put up helped you out a little bit in that matchup. It's one that I find you will get counterpicked into a lot, and if you know what you're doing with Bretonia, you can win that matchup. I would say even I think Bretonia honestly has better tools even than the Empire for that matchup. Which is weird to say, because in almost every matchup, I would say the Empire has better tools, but trebuchets are like this hidden secret weapon there. Empire doesn't have a good armor-piercing catapult-type artillery. Like, if mortars actually did armor-piercing damage, that would totally change the game, and that would make Empire a lot better, I think, against the dwarfs. With the War Wagon change, too, I haven't really tested. In theory, they should be good at shooting dwarf infantry. I don't know, actually. I don't know. We'll see. Well, I might test that out at some point. I can't really use them as chariots against dwarfs, because dwarfs have too much armor. But anyway, yeah, the trebuchets and hippogriffs as well. Hippogriff knights are a really strong tool against the dwarfs. You can just nuke a unit of dwarf infantry on the charge with them. And yeah, they're very good, especially paired with Lewin. You get the Sword of Corone to debuff their melee defense and armor a bit. Quite nice. You can also do 8 archers. That works. The accuracy is an issue definitely for Trebs, but if you have the points to give them chevrons, you can, or even if they're forcing your opponent to come to you, oftentimes that can be enough to win against the dwarfs with the other tools that you have at your disposal. Isles versus Chaos. Yeah, this should be an interesting one. Should be an interesting one. Neither of these players went with an Aquatics faction, which is nice. This is Swamp of Terror, which is absolutely a map that can be subject to Aquatics. Poison Ducky did ban the Vampire Coast, so we weren't going to see any zombie pirates. But we could have seen potentially some Lizardmen here, which I think would have been a strong choice, especially against Chaos on this map. You can take advantage of the Aquatics of Red Cress against Chaos and just have them function a little bit better against Chaos Infantry. Kind of play off of that a little bit. But as it is, 2 non-Aquatics faction going to be slugging it out in the swamp, so we'll see. Questing Knights can be good. They're not... The thing about Hippogriffs is, as long as you don't get them speed debuffed, which is a bit more of a problem now than it used to be. Hippogriffs, like, dwarfs can't really stop them. They're almost like chariots in a way, but flying, you know, because like on the charge, they have enough mass, they can charge in, do a bunch of damage, and then disengage pretty cleanly, usually. I think some of the dwarf infantry, like Ironbreakers, are a little bit tougher. Most dwarf infantry, especially if you have, like, let's say some peasant mobs engaged in the front on some dwarf warriors, just come in with, like, 1 or 2 units of Hippogriff Knights, and, I mean, granted, that's way overkill, right? But you can just nuke units kind of one at a time individually. The real threat to them is the guns, right? Like, then nothing can really fight them in melee, but just like chariots, they're vulnerable to guns. So if you can pressure guns and crossbows with, trebuchets is really your best tool, and then also, that's got to be your priority target, really, is to go after the guns first, and try and isolate them if you can. Obviously, you got to watch out for dwarf characters, using their abilities to speed debuff and whatever. And now, the Gyro Bomber as well, I think, is an interesting one against Bretonnia, because they do have fast flying units that can catch it and kill it pretty easily, but at the same time, with the speed debuffs, I think maybe you could keep it alive and kind of screen it out with a line of guns. So, it's interesting, but regardless, the Hippogriff Knights, in my experience, are very strong in that matchup. Questing Knights also can be. I have one video, it's an older one, I'll have to find it, but it basically, I used, like, Hippogriff Knights and Questing Knights, and just played very mobile. I had 4 trebuchets like all spread out across the field, so that my dwarf opponent, to get at them, would have to run a long way and split up his army, right? So in that way, I was able to kind of spread his units apart, and then coming in with those mobile, like hard-hitting flying units, just and the mobile cavalry as well, just kind of alpha strike, so to speak, just nuke. I know that's kind of not a misuse of that term, but still. Just kind of nuke individually those dwarf units one by one, and it takes a while, it takes some good micro, and of course if your opponent's on top of their micro, pressuring you with guns, and especially something like Trollhammer torpedoes are a big nightmare. They're probably the most dangerous unit, but as long as you can stay away from the Slayers and so on, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Let's have a look here of this High Elf build. We've got Fireborns, more Dragon Princes, Archmage of Life up in the air, Spearmen, Archers, got some Swordmasters of Hoeth in the front line, some Silver Guard as well. Pretty nice build, balanced overall. For Warriors of Chaos, Hell Cannon, Soul of Damnation, actually, very interesting. I figured we were probably going to see Hell Cannon here. The Breaths can somewhat deal with it. The Moon Dragon's not quite as efficient as the Star Dragon, but because of the HP buff, I'd imagine that the Hell Cannon will, again, become a pretty strong tool in this matchup. We've also got Wild Big Bird. Summoners of Rage also pretty good here. Chaos Warriors with Halberds, couple of great weapons. Marauder, great weapons even. Marauders up front. Mirror Guard, and of course, plenty of Skirmish Cavalry. 1 Throwing Axe and 4 Horsemen with Javelins. Dragon Princes looking very nice. The Swamp, this map has a really interesting kind of filter on it. Colors look really nice. Illyrian Archers in this matchup? What are you going to do with Illyrian Archers in this matchup? Like, what unit do you need to counter with Illyrian Archers, is what I'm asking, I guess. But, okay. Archmage of Life flying way over here. Was a little bit far over there on the side, but I guess just checking for Wild Vanguards. Likewise, these Fireborn also coming over. Dragon Princes. The Dragon Princes can definitely clean up a lot of units, but they are going to have to be careful. The Summoners of Rage, obviously, trade very nicely against Dragon Princes. Likewise, if the Soul of Damnation starts shooting at them, they can get blown up. But interestingly enough, Hell Cannons do magic damage, so I'm curious to see. I actually have not tried shooting a Silverin Guard with a Hell Cannon. That magic resistance could potentially come into play here, but let's have a look as the High Elves advance. Big Bird also does magic attacks, right? As do the Summoners of Rage. So again, the Silverin Guards, magic resistance coming into play as it often does. Let's see. The explosion did very little damage there. It doesn't look like the missile made direct contact. Yeah, it didn't lose any models and barely any HP damage at all. So that's pretty good. Let's see. On a direct hit, yeah, it does kill models that it contacts. 7 models there is a pretty good shot, but the explosion really doesn't do much damage at all to those Silverin Guard. I'm pretty impressed. That's okay, and considering the Hell Cannon is only 1 model shooting somewhat inaccurately, less so than the base Hell Cannon, certainly for the Regiment of Renown, but that's actually, oh yeah, center hit right there. That's okay. I mean, it's better than any other infantry unit, right? I guess. Just some consolation, but the archers are cheaper. That's also a bit of a consolation there. And yeah, Cheaper coming forward here with the archers, just trying to not get too caught out, but also try to keep them in a position to support against all of these Marauder horsemen. The Hell Cannon is allowing this formation to be somewhat broken up, though, and the Swordmasters are coming forward now. If they can get up and kind of hide in this little forest right here, but Silver and Guard pulling up, Big Bird charges in, does very little damage, as do the Marauders. I don't think the Silver and Guard were necessarily braced there, but Archers now starting to fire in. And yeah, the Dragon's going to switch over here. It is a little bit of a trap, potentially. He does have to be careful of the Summoners of Rage right here. But the Hell Cannon's starting to use through some of its ammunition. Still probably got more than 2/4 left. But look at these. Oh man, the Dragon actually going in the back line. And yeah, now the Summoner's being deployed. Oh man, and the Dragon Princes are right here as well. So this is a pretty target-rich environment for the Summoners. You have to be careful, though. If the Fireborn countercharge them, that will obviously be quite good. But the Dragon Princes get a nice charge here on these Marauders. Come in and disengage. The Silver and Guard have taken a lot of damage, though, all things considered, as have the Swordmasters as well. So quite a few expensive targets. The Hell Cannon absolutely paying dividends at this point, but a nice kind of side breath attack does some pretty good damage to those Marauder Horsemen. Meanwhile, the Dragon Prince is pushing up and around the flank there. Going to try and maybe break those Marauder Horsemen and to pressure some of these other units. But, I mean, this Archmage of Life, 0 armor, only 60 armor base with the... without Plague of Rust, right? And with Plague of Rust, it's going to be 0 armor. So those Javelins will be doing an absolute ton of damage. Regrowth here being used. Overcast Regrowth will try and sustain. And yeah, the Dragon Princes do manage to punch through. The Silver and Guard can help support against those Summoners, but the Dragon Princes do have to be very, very careful not to get caught out there. But if they get the charge, that's good. So here, like this unit, getting the charge on the Summoners of Rage will do quite a bit of damage. And again, the Silver and Guard following up to help support there. Oh man, they got crumped by something there, though. That was not great. The Fireborn just swiftly making their way up and through, though. They are faster than all of these other units. And the Silver and Guard here holding out okay in the front line as more of the archers kind of start to filter in. One thing Chuber could do is try and get his archers kind of concentrated up here and actually shoot the Hell Cannon to death. Would be pretty viable, actually. But instead using the archers to go after the various Marauder Horsemen's probably a good call, actually, while they're in here trying to fire at various targets. But a nice Overcast Final Transmutation absolutely wreck those Fireborn as they try and pull through those spears there. I don't know. I mean, they are going to get terrified. They'll probably come back with a few models left, but we'll see how much Winds of Magic is left for the High Elves to try and sustain them. But Marauder Horsemen now charging at this point. The Swordmasters are actually still somehow pretty healthy. They could get in here, get some work done, but Swordmasters just get countered by so many different units. Archers firing in, though. This is a pretty nice engagement. The Silver and Guard supporting. The Archers are also supporting. The Summoners of Rage have pretty good armor and missile resistance, but they will take some damage from those Archers. Oh, this is bad, though, potentially. We'll see. Nice healing sustain there, and more Silver and Guard coming in, or just regular Spearmen even, as the Chain Lightning is unleashed in the back line. More Chaos Marauders making their way forward. This Dragon seems like it's a little bit stuck up on those Summoners of Rage, though, having potential mass issues there. And the Swordmasters are continuing to absorb the shots of the Hell Cannon as they make their way through, try and mop up whatever infantry they can get a hold of. Things are definitely not looking great for the High Elves. The Summoners of Rage have managed to get mostly good engagements, and I mean, they did get charged a little bit there by those Dragon Princes, but it ended up not really working out too bad for them at the end of the day. And the Hell Cannon really has been the thing here. 111 kills, so absolutely making mincemeat of a lot of this High Elf army. I mean, the Silver and Guard, they're better than regular infantry would be, I guess, in that situation. But, yeah. I do think the one thing, Swordmasters, I'm just not a fan of at all. I think Elite Great Weapon Infantry are basically useless in multiplayer, by and large. Especially anti-infantry specific ones. Like, I think if he would have brought instead just like a unit of Warline Chariots even, and I guess it's not quite the same cost, but yeah, Warline Chariots probably would have been my go-to for anti-infantry here. and then they can kind of act as mobility, run around, try and bait the Summoners of Rage into an engagement, and then use the Dragon Princess to countercharge the Summoners. But other than that, I think this build is super solid. I mean, the Life Mage on her Dragon's like a decent kind of all-around pick. It's not super flashy and a little boring, some people might say, but the Dragon Princess is certainly a very strong. The Archer's not too bad. I think just the anti-infantry component was a little bit lacking here. The anti-large from the Dragon Princess was going to be just fine, but yeah. Summoners of Rage, man, such a good unit in this matchup. Soul of Damnation, if it doesn't get shot up by bolt throwers or breathed on by a big nasty Star Dragon, also quite good in this matchup. So let's go ahead and have a look here. And Poison Ducky does have a YouTube channel. You guys saw him play earlier. I'm going to go ahead and post a link. You guys mosey on over to his channel. Yeah, there's a few things you can do to try and take out the Hell Cannon. Anyway, let's go ahead and get the next competitor lined up here. It looks like Felcon is in. See if he's still here. If not, we'll have the next one jump in. What makes Shadow Warriors not great? I mean, they're okay in my opinion. They're not terrible, but they are one of the most cost inefficient units if you measure damage per shot, which I know is not like yes, they're melee stats. I'm discounting that entirely in this discussion, but just for the sake of this discussion, if you only look at their damage per shot, they're one of the most cost inefficient units in the entire game. So yeah, there's that. That's the reason why some people don't really like them. For me personally, I think if you use them in the right situation at the right time, they can be good. Their melee stats are okay, but I think Deepwood Scouts are a little more cost effective is the thing, just because they're cheaper. Inherently, they're slightly more cost effective. Shadow Warriors? Oh yeah, do the math. Do the math. If you if you measure per shot per model, like divided by the gold cost or whatever, I have it all. I like wrote a paper basically about it one day because I was like, why do I not like Shadow Warriors? Let me see if I can figure it out mathematically. I was looking at a bunch of their different traits, and yeah, their missile damage and their ammunition is not great for the cost. That's really their main downside, is their cost per shot is very inefficient. They do have other upsides, the stock, 360 shooting, melee stats, don't get me wrong, there's place for all of that, but if you purely measure cost per shot, they're one of the most inefficient units in the game. Alongside Illyrian Reaver Archers, actually, I'll have you know. No. Shadow Warriors. Shadow Warriors is what I'm talking about. Shadow Walkers are even more cost inefficient, I think. I'd have to run them through the equation. I didn't actually check on them, but Pistoliers are one of the best, I think. Well, maybe not one of the best, but they're pretty good because they have 2 shots per volley. A lot of the lower end archers obviously measure up well, and like the high model count ones especially, like if you measure that equation, that's why I think Ungol Raiders are so good, and Ungol Raiders actually have stock in Vanguard and some other utility as well, whereas like Gobbo archers have 90 unit models, but they're not amazing. Right, but that's not how it works, Sarmation. Exactly, that's not how it works, and you kind of have to look at their other utility as well, like the melee. For me, the Reaver Archers, because of their speed and the fact that they actually have pretty good melee stats for Skirmish Cav, kind of makes up for that a little bit. Shadow Warriors are in a similar vein. The stock and the decent melee stats somewhat make up for the fact that they're not super cost efficient per shot. But yeah, it's an interesting analysis nonetheless. I just did it because I was more or less curious to see like how much are you paying per shot on a lot of these different units, and I found that by and large, like the high elf bows, and maybe this is something for balancing, but maybe you just give them like +1 or 2 more damage per shot, and that would actually help them out quite a bit. I think it's weird to say, but those small little chips and chunks kind of add up over time, right? And especially for the high elves, who most of their units are not cost effective. Like now, I would say you have a handful that are, but most of their units are not super cost effective. Like unless you use them under very specific circumstances where they're meant to be used, then they'll pay for themselves. But by and large, they're not very flexible, I guess. Like their roster is, but their units themselves are not flexible, right? Like spearmen are not great at fighting infantry. You know, like yeah, Shadow Walkers can fight okay in melee. Mainly though, I feel like their utility comes from the stock and Vanguard and 360 shooting, but yeah, exactly, Hadris. If you're looking for cost-effective shots, then that's the way to go, is regular High Elf Archers, especially now that they have Plague of Rust. Plague of Rust also helps Shadow Warriors be a lot more cost-effective, too. And that's also, I showed off something similar with the Walkers, but anyway, let's have a look here. Shades are an interesting one. They actually have like the best range of any Dark Elf range unit, I think, except for maybe the Bolt Fiends. But their range and stock is the main thing. Because the Dark Elves, like the stock, I feel like is inherently more valuable for the Dark Elves because their intermediate skirmish is shorter range, right? Like crossbows are much shorter range than the High Elf bows. The stock becomes sort of almost necessary in a way because you'll often be outranged, and to be able to get into position without taking too much damage in the first place is very important for those crossbows, which they can do a ton of damage up close. Yeah, Shades are an interesting one. I think probably of any of that like hybrid missile melee unit, I honestly don't know. Units in that class, Free Company are probably the best, to be honest, because they're the cheapest and they have the most unit models. They don't have stock, they don't have 360 shooting. They can at least fire in advance now, and they have kind of a cool loose-ish formation. But anyway, let's go ahead and get a new map locked in. We'll do Toothgrass Hill. Big thanks, by the way, Tam10 for coming in. Love the live stream. Hit that thumbs up. So generous, man, always. Thank you so much. Yeah, heavy armor is often taken versus high elves. Exactly, Samnation, exactly. The Plague of Rust is nice, though, man. I'll tell you what. Yeah. That's pretty good. There is a Falcon on the horizon. Yeah, if he wakes up, he did not respond to my PM, so we'll see. But these guys are gonna get their army picks locked in. Give me just a second. I'll be right back. Yeah, no, I don't know about 360 shooting, Free Company. I don't know about that. But I think I figured it out. I think HGM is here just saying that the High Elves are bad always so that they'll continue to get buffs. I think it's all as part of a grand secret plan. I mean, I don't know that it would be that big of a deal because they are pretty short range, but it would be a deal for sure. And for certain factions like the Vampire Coast, that would be a problem. I mean, zombies already can't catch them, but I mean, you would be able to get shot while not catching them, which would be even worse, right? So foot pistoliers with melee skills. That's basically what they would be. They have the same volume of fire as pistoliers as well. Also, my 360 shooting cap is already maxed with war wagons and pistoliers. If they were 360 shooting, I couldn't take 4 of them on top of taking war wagons and pistoliers, so I actually would prefer them to stay forward firing only, please. I do like that they can fire while moving, though. That is nice. You can fire in advance on a lot of positions. Yeah. Yeah, I like Shadow Warriors a little bit better now with Plague of Rust. I think it definitely helps. It helps focus certain targets. I mean, if you add in the cost, if you take like 2 or 3 Shadow Warriors and add in the cost of a mage with literally just Plague of Rust only, it's probably about the same cost as taking like 3 Way Watchers, and I don't know if it's as good because it's, you know, the metal debuff is targeted and it's not going to be quite as reliable as Way Watchers, but it's comparable, I would say. Doing something like that, I would think. I'd have to actually do the math, but I think it's probably pretty close. And I totally disagree, HGM, 100%. You always got to take magic support into account when you're talking about any unit. That's why Blood Knights are the best shot cavalry in the game, is because of lore of vampires. I mean, yes, they are very good in and of themselves, but they're not better than Grail Knights necessarily, just in terms of their stats. What makes them objectively way better is the fact that they can resurrect unit models from all of the support buffs and healing that they get access to, right? Like, you can't... This is one thing, people do one-on-one testing. You can't necessarily discount buffs and support, and it's just, I mean, the game really doesn't work that way. And, I mean, you always have to take support into account, right? Now, if you're comparing Deepwood Scouts, for example, to Shadow Warriors, that is a comparison, right? Deepwood Scouts have Prey of Anathrema, which is a missile resistance debuff against certain targets that will be much better. But then on the flip side, you know, the armor debuff will be better against other targets for the Shadow Warriors, right? So, kind of an interesting back and forth in that way. But yeah. The High Elves now, I think, still need to explore, like, potentially Soul Blight could be a good one as well, if you're taking Lore of Death, like Spirit Leech to pick away enemy cavalry, or other, you know, high armor units. Maybe a Fate of Buna as well. That could potentially be good to clean out, like, an elite infantry or something. But anyway, we've got Empire versus Greenskins. Very classic matchup here today. Let's go ahead and have a look. And let's see, yeah, see what we got. A Wild Volkmar. And what is this? Oh man, the Sunmaker. What a mad lad here. Absolute legend. Chosen One coming in with the Hellstorm Rocket Battery. We've got a bunch of Flagellants here. Sigmar Sons, Volkmar, Spearmen up front. Empire Knights, Outriders, and some grenade launchers. No war wagons, which is a little sad. But for the Greenskins, we've got some Piggy Boys out on the side here with a Black Orc Big Boss. Here we go. This lad here to help give some extra melee attack, or yeah, melee attack, immune to psychology, and leadership with Get Back here. for the boars that he is supporting. We've got 2 boar biggins there, gobos up front, some savage orcs, excuse me, orc air boys, Skarsnik leading the way, Night Goblin Shaman, and 4, count 'em, 4 rock lobsters. So, yeah, the rock lobbers will be outranged by the Sunmaker, absolutely. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting. You know what, HGM, it seems like you're just a little sad today, so maybe we can just... Yeah, my chat's actually bugging out right now, but we'll just put you in timeout for the time being. Once this reloads, because, yeah, it seems like you're just a little sad today. But anyway, Sunmaker unleashing some volleys. And, yeah, gonna do a lot of damage. The Savage Orcs are a pretty good target to shoot at. There's not that many high-value infantry, but just in general, the rockets against a Horde-style faction will be quite strong. Let's see here. Yeah, there's not... Skarsnik's going to be interesting. I'm curious as to see what can really deal with Skarsnik. I mean, I guess army losses or maybe the grenade launchers, but Empire Cavalry emerging from the forest here. Those Savage Orcs are taking an absolute beating. And let's see here. Yeah, looks like the rockets are going to switch onto the boars. The boars are fast enough to be able to pull out of range here, and the savage boars are actually a little bit faster than the regular boars, which is absolutely wonderful. Oh man, but look at that one volley. Holy cow, that one volley making really nice contact there, just doing an absolute ton of damage to those boars. I guess because they're just large unit models, right? They're big hitboxes. That actually makes them relatively easy to hit. But, yeah, Skarsnik just kind of chilling in the back for the time being. These Orc Air Boys and the Godlobbers also just pounding away. So a bit of an artillery skirmish here, but it looks like the Sunmaker is about halfway done with its ammunition already. So... yeah. The big boss, where did the big boss go? Yeah, he's still chilling back here, unfortunately. Not with the boars at the moment, but, yeah, the boars are just getting pounded by rockets anyway, so how much of a issue is it? Oh, yeah, the Sunmaker and Quad Treb. Oh... yeah, I mean, it's definitely an issue. Those boars are taking a lot of damage here. Empire Knights charging in the backline, but now at this point they do get the Gorkle fix it. The boars are able to respond quite nicely here. Empire Knights charging over on this side, but concentrated gunfire. It looks like the Outriders have taken quite a bit of counter skirmish from those Orc Air Boys, but Volkmar coming through, unleashing a banishment, going to do some good damage, but I'd imagine that Sunmaker is just about out of ammunition, which means that, yeah, these rock lobbers are now going to have free reign to do their artillery work, and likely the Outriders will be a primary target at first. But good damage on the boars. That probably paid for the Sunmaker. I would imagine the damage on the boars probably paid for it. The Savage Orcs as well absolutely got wrecked, so pretty cost-effective there. But let's see, Black Orc Big Boss still chilled in the back for the moment for Poison Ducky. Let's see, I will remember him eventually, I'm sure. But regardless, Volkmar coming in, going to try and terrify away that Night Goblin Shaman. You can see here the bombardment, going to do a lot of damage to those Orc Air Boys there. And yeah, the Outriders pushing through, still staying relatively safe. I'm not sure 100% what the Rock Lobbers are lobbing at. They're doing some damage regardless, though. Let's see, 23 kills, 21, 12 there. This one looks like got routed off, unfortunately, but... Oh, are we having some frame lags here? That looks okay right now. Might have dropped a few frames right there. Apologies about that. But Grenade Launcher's doing a great job going after those gobos. And now the Big Boss has been remembered here. Black Orc Big Boss can get in, try and countercharge Volkmar a little bit, respond to him as much as possible. Orc Biggins also making their way up at this point. Outriders kind of sweeping around the flank here. Outriders can get some good damage on these Orc Biggins. They themselves have taken quite a bit of damage, but... I would say, yeah, with the Rock Lobbers, probably just turn and fire directly at the Outriders here. We'll see. Orc Boar Boy Biggins, will they get a charge? Nope, looks like he did not get a charge order there. They might have been able to catch with the charge animation, but now the Outriders are well out of range. Black Orc Big Boss coming forward. His missile block chance will be quite helpful here. Ooh, nicely done on the Grenade Outriders as well. Good shot there by those Gobos. This Firecaster kind of hanging around in the back line, looking to get a good engagement somewhere, maybe fireball this Night Goblin Shaman if he can. Night Goblin Shaman does have Vindictive Glare to try and respond, though. That could be a good get for him. Really, really good value exchange in terms of the missile, magic missile duel. Skarsnik just chilling, though, and this is the thing about the Greenskins, is despite what their build may look like, I mean, these characters are going to be pretty tanky into the late game. The catapults, though, at this point, some of them have used up quite a bit of ammo, but looks like they are going to end up getting taken out. This one that had previously routed off is now coming back, but not doing too great. Those Biggins, Boar Biggins get finished off there, and this is decent for Skarsnik. He manages to get Volkmar in a bit of a surround here. He's got some Boars helping, although they'll very quickly start to run away. This Black Orc Big Boss really would be nice to support Volkmar. Yeah, with that immune psychology, but nicely done. Good timing on the fermented fungi right as Volkmar is about to pull away there. He gets drawn back into that engagement. But nice burning head to respond, roasting out those Biggins. They're trading very badly against those Flagellants. That's actually a really nice engagement for the Flagellants. Likewise, the Fanatics trying to spring the Black Orc Big Boss loose as he comes back to help finish off Volkmar here. Got a charge bonus, 65 charge bonus. Doesn't have primary armor piercing for whatever reason, but that high charge bonus, and still has decent enough AP values. He will do damage to Volkmar, and Volkmar might get finished off here. Fermented Fungi does wear off, though, so let's see how that does. Outriders in the back continuing to get shelled by the artillery. They're now going to just charge into melee and try and take him out the old-fashioned way, which is probably the right idea, and a nice bombardment as well. Going to hit a bunch of these... I guess it honestly didn't hit that many Greenskins units, but Skarsnik has taken a lot of damage from something. I'm not 100% sure what exactly here. Maybe the Sigmar Sons, maybe Volkmar, but if he goes down, that could potentially be a bit of an issue. Immune to Psychology will help him kind of sustain this late-game engagement, but the rest of the supporting infantry is all gone here. There are a handful of catapult crews still scattered around, but things are looking a little grim. Huh, get it? Grim? Like Volk? Never mind. Yeah, Outriders cleaning up these crews. A Wa being popped now. Because this was a very missile-oriented build, the Wa really hasn't played much of a factor in this engagement. But Black Orc Big Boss trying to disengage here is having a little bit of a hard time. Skarsnik coming over also. The one thing, once Volkmar gets kind of around these artillery pieces, there's a chance, depending on which way he tries to go, he could get caught up on some of those artillery pieces. As it is right now, Gork'll Fix-It being used to debuff Volkmar's speed, and between the poison there and the Gork'll Fix-It, they are going to get Volkmar kind of pinned in here against Skarsnik to a degree, and again, the Black Orc boss coming through, utilizing that charge bonus for a beautiful side charge in here, getting a nice hit on Volkmar. If he finishes off Volkmar, that is a way that the Greenskins can try and win this battle. A nice fireball, didn't quite make contact, maybe it hit the Shaman there, but Volkmar somehow squeaks away. Nope, he's got the Enrage. How is he not enraged? He's not rampaged somehow at 102. I'm not sure what's happening here. Is the Hammer of Sigmar actually preventing him from getting enraged, or what's happening? He's low enough HP that he should absolutely be running back in with that fermented fungi, but yeah, I'm not sure about that. That's a little strange. I'm sure some people are happy considering the length of the duration there, but I don't know how that did not proc that enrage. Meanwhile, over here, all of these Gobos and Savage Orcs are being chased off by the Sunmaker crew and the Spearmen, so Empire, with that, pulled pretty decisively ahead. That was kind of the last gamble, was to take out Volkmar, and because he did not go down there, of course, that means the Empire is going to continue to sustain, and the Terror will kick in, and yeah, it's over for the Greenskins. But that's wild, man. I'll have to look back at this replay and have a look, try and do some research and figure out why. The thing is, he has only 390 weapon strength overall, but the Black Orc Big Boss actually has much better AP values than somebody like a Thane, for example, or a Empire Captain especially. But yeah, he has lower overall weapon strength than like a Thane or a White King, but he does a lot better AP values. If you actually mouse over the tooltip and look, I think he has like 20 or 30 more AP than those two I just mentioned. So yeah, I think it's pretty good. That's strange. I don't know about the Enrage. Interesting. Interesting. I don't know. I'll have to do some research and figure out, That was quite the reign. Nice to see a Empire win, and the Sunmaker especially, absolute hero. Yeah, you're right, Shetland. It really should. You're right. Anyway, let's go ahead and have a look here. Who's next on the list? We're just about through. Ceramation, looks like you're up. I'll go ahead and shoot you a PM here. Alright. And we'll cue up the music once more. Excellent. Big thanks for everyone for joining. Yeah, fun match for sure. I always love Greenskins versus Empire. I mean, it's like the most classic of classics, right? Like, that's where this all originated from. Good old Tolkien-esque. Just orcs versus humans. Add in some goblins. Trolls, maybe a griffin, and suddenly you got yourself a game. Yeah, I guess I could turn on the scoreboard here and actually track Hadra's wins. So nope, not that. Here. Nope, not that. Nope, not that. Huh. Oh, that's right, I actually had an overlay, I believe. Right? Yeah, okay. I'll have to make another overlay. The mullet screen blocker. Here we go. Just for you, Bob Tresh. Yeah, Professor Pone's still around. He's still around. You'll catch him occasionally on certain things. The horror! The horror! Okay. Let's have a look. Information might have gone AFK temporarily, so let's check in here. Who else was there? Here we go. Okay, let's go ahead and do this once again. Oh, wait. Looks like Sarmation is here. Okay, we'll get the next one lined up here. And yeah, we're just about done for today, actually. Been going almost 3 hours, so that's pretty good. Pretty good stuff. A lot of awesome games today. Big thanks for everyone who been viewing, been donating especially. We've got, yeah, let's go ahead and look here. Little Raven, Tamanten with 45 euros overall. Absolutely amazing, as always. And a Little Raven with a $5. Very much appreciated as well. And all of the players also, let's give them a round of applause. Currently, we've got these two. Sarmation and Chosen One. Then we'll have Happy Puppy up next, and Ziphos to close out the stream. So, we'll see. Chosen One can make a run here. I don't know, I think Hadris is pretty much safe at this point as the true king of the 8 peaks. How many wins do you have, Hadris? 5? Right? So I guess if Chosen One runs the gauntlet, that will be, yeah, 4. So I think you got it. Oh yeah, apologies, Ivan. All the games will be up, of course, after the fact in VOD, so you can always go back and watch through them. But we've had some fun ones, sure. Yep, that's Turin's official ever-chosen sponsored mullet. It is indeed. Yep. A monstrosity before our eyes. Alright. Checking out a couple things here, looking at some comments on my video from today. People are loving it. Yeah, for those of you guys who missed it in my video today, I don't wanna spoil it, but let's say someone gets sync killed by a Hydra, and it's very, very good to look at. Very satisfying. Oh, we need the map, duh. Oh, yeah, obviously. I am a caster. I know these things, clearly. Yes, the map, aha! We'll do Blue Reach River. Just because I'm feeling something classic. I'm pretty sure Turin will, like, tie him to the bed during his sleep and just give him the Friar Tuck. If he doesn't do it himself. Okay. Just getting distracted by all the things. No big deal. Happens. It happens to me from time to time. Okay. Looks like we're gonna have... yeah, Dark Elves ban Wood Elves. Actually, Wood Elves rush-oriented builds into Dark Elves can be quite good. Looks like Summeration's gonna go Empire instead. A mullet Friar Tuck. That is the worst. But I think that's the only right thing to do, right? I would agree with you, Shetland. Okay, checking some things. Just going straight to the Empire as a substitute for Wood Elves. And Wood Elves, I'm hoping, will get some love as well. Beastmen and Wood Elves, I think, are the two factions most in need of love. Norsk I would probably put as the third, but those two, they could use some love. Empire! Yes, Volkmar, exactly. Volkmar's so good in this matchup. He hard counters. I need more than two hands to count the number of Dark Elf units that he hard counters. Like, to be honest. Witch Elves, Sisters of Slaughter, he hard counters. He hard counters Doomfire Warlocks. Let's see. He's even pretty decent against... He has his AoE abilities, his bombardment at least. He's pretty good against, Cold One Knights, against all of the infantry, obviously. Literally just all of the infantry he hard counters. Even, I guess not Blackguard, but everything else, basically. Yeah. Dark Riders, he's just so good. So good. Norska's super strong, but they only have 2 legendary lords, and their campaign is terrible. It's so bad. So Norska needs love for campaign more than anything. They're a really good faction in multiplayer, mostly because they match up very well against most of the top tier factions. They actually do have a few weird matchups, like Greenskins, believe it or not, especially now with the changes. That's a bad one. And High Elves, I think, is a lot tougher now than it used to be. Silver and Guard changed that matchup quite a bit, actually. That being said... Yeah, I don't know. I would love more Legendary Lords from Norska and just a campaign rework. But the Beastmen and Wood Elves also are in more need of a campaign rework than Norska, even, I would say. Wood Elves probably most of all, but Beastmen too. Warriors of Chaos also, to a degree. Their campaign's just very basic, to be honest. There's just not a lot going on there, but I'm hoping for, like, as a lead-in event to Game 3, that they do a free update from Norska and Warriors of Chaos, and maybe just give them, like, a couple new units, maybe, like, new lords, to give them a, you know, campaign overhauls and everything. Norska just needs more lords. They have 3 lord choices. 3 lord choices. You look at somebody now, especially like the vampire counts with their bloodline lords, or like high elves with all their magic selection lords. You're like, okay, I have 3 lords to choose from. And in campaign, what that means is, besides Throg and Wulfric, they're all just Sirth Ek wannabes, basically, right? Like, it's all just Marauder dudes, which it feels kind of bad. So, I would like for Norska to get a campaign update, absolutely. But yeah, Wood Elves campaign is, like, almost unplayable. It is just cursed. So bad. So, it's a product of its time, granted. Wood Elves were a very early faction release, and they were kind of experimenting with the zone occupation system, seeing what people enjoyed, and yeah, they just need a rework. So, cool. Let's have a look at what we've got here. Let's not forget also Turin's lovely face. Yeah, bud. We've got Malekith here, Dread Spears, Black Ark Corsairs, Dark Riders, Cold One Knights, and some Scourge Runner Chariots. Doomfire Warlocks, yes, Lanesh's Harvesters also. Is there a hard counter? I do see not Volkmar. Oh, on horseback. Interesting. Volkmar on horseback, so he can still counter. Doomfire Warlocks, not quite as effectively, but still. Stirland's Revenge, we've got, yeah, more Freeco, a bunch of Flagellants, Spearmen, handguns, couple of Knights of the Blazing Sun in the back. A Death Wizard, interesting. Amethyst Wizard rather than Lord of Fire. But, yeah, let's see. These guys have, what, 150 range? What are the handguns at? They're 100 and... only 90 range, obviously. Free Company, yeah, not handguns. Free Company only have 90 range, but the cannon obviously can take pot shots. Oh, not even a cannon, a Hellblaster. How about this? You guys got the Hellstorm rocket battery earlier, now you get the Hellblaster volley gun. Oh man, look at those menacing barrels.
The omens are good, brothers.
Yes, yes they are. Yeah, Lanesh's Harvesters. We'll have to be careful not to get just destroyed by Volkmar. Yeah, these guys are creepy. Look at that. We're edgy elves. Emo stuff. And they're off to the races. Got some various vanguard positions here. And most of the army is hidden. The Scourge Runner Chariots, although they're in the woods, are technically not hidden. They used to be able to hide in the woods, but now they actually can't hide. So the cannon can make its way forward to start to shell the Scourge Runner Chariots. A lot of the units kind of sweeping up and through here, and it's not so much necessarily about staying hidden as it is just blocking the shots, potentially, of the cannon, right? The cannon won't be able to actually fire. Well, I guess it can. There's still plenty of lanes where you can get through. But, I mean, obviously, with a lot of these trees, it can make contact on them rather than making contact on the chariots, and it's just a little bit of protection in that way. But previously, it used to be that Scourge Runner Chariots could actually hide, but they changed that now. They can no longer hide. Probably appropriate. Chariots probably shouldn't be able to hide, but I guess the Hellblaster does have pretty short range here. And, yeah, Chosen One just being very patient, kind of maneuvering his troops around here. These Dark Riders were momentarily visible there. I don't know if Sarmatian spotted them, though. Blazing Boys? Blazing Boys are really good in this matchup. The magic resistance makes them good against Soul Stealer, and also the fact that elves generally have low HP means that you can take advantage of the high charge bonus of Knights of the Blazing Sun and just do a ton of damage. So, Hellblaster Volley Gun not quite in range yet, but just about there. Malekith almost in range as well. Volkmar you can see coming out to the side here. Probably going to help support some of these Knights in some kind of engagement out on this flank here. But has to be a little bit careful. There are plenty of units to help protect this Hellblaster volley gun, but I believe Malekith is actually in range, yes or no? I'm not sure, but something will be in range soon. You can see the Scourge Runner chariots come forward, and now the Hellblaster volley gun should be able to get some shots. No, just barely still out of range. That's interesting. Nice little counter volley from the Free Company militia there. They need to be careful not to get too far pulled out of position. But Gaze of Malice, swing and a miss mostly. I mean, it might have staggered a few of them a little bit, but Spirit Leech, yeah, Spirit Leech from this Amethyst Wizard, and I'm not sure, Sarmation, not microing this Hellblaster volley gun at the moment. Now actually giving it an order to come pressure, but yeah, it needed to be probably pressuring. Chosen One's just been kind of sitting back pretty passive for the time being, so might as well get the Hellblaster volley gun into range to start to pressure, you know, whatever targets. Here, Malekith just YOLOs directly into a bunch of spears, which is maybe not the best situation for him, but he does have plenty of supporting units now. Going to be coming in to help support, obviously, but more spears in the forest. And the cavalry disengage there. Now the Hellblaster volley gun's free to just fire at whatever targets, getting some okay damage in on the Scourge Runner chariots, but especially like these Black Ark Corsairs will get taken out pretty efficiently. Now multiple layers being deployed, but oh man, Wild Dark Riders coming in, juking and jerking, and oh man, will the Flagellants, oh yeah, the Flagellants are actually going to be in a position to screen out, so very nicely done by the Tattersouls, able to protect from those Dark Riders very, very well, and Volkmar also coming in to drop some support buffs over here. The Free Company are able to get a kind of a flanking position to fire in, but these Knights of the Blazing Sun might get now charged by all of this mean Dark Elf cavalry, so we'll see a lot to micro all across the field. Yeah, looks like the Knights of Blazing Sun now pulling away. One of them maybe didn't get the order or something, I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, the Witch Elves, or sorry, not Witch Elves, Corsairs actually taking a lot of damage here from these Free Company. This is not super cost effective for them. Likewise, the Dread Spears and other units kind of getting a little bit overextended, but it's kind of protect the Hellblaster, more or less, is the name of the game. But look at those Tattersouls trading very, very nicely into the Black Ark Corsairs there. But now that a lot of the infantry have been affixed, the mobile units can come try and get on this Hellblaster volley gun and tie it down. Look at all of this being committed just to try and tie this down. That being said, Knights of the Blazing Sun are being dealt with in this forest. I mean, they're not doing a whole lot of damage in return. They are distracting all of these units for quite a long time, which in and of itself could actually be enough. We'll see, as the Empire is mostly winning this fight here. The Slaanesha's Harvesters now coming through, though, trying to change that. Getting back, getting on this Hellblaster volley gun. It is able to mostly pull away there. And some nice counter fire from those Free Company militia. Dark Riders finally able to get through, though, and that Hellblaster has been cleaned up. Look at this. Knights of Blazing Sun managed to escape, though. One full unit just about able to escape that situation and get to support here. We'll see the Dark Elves now. They've disrupted the Empire's formation quite a bit. They have lost out on some engagements, but it hasn't been the end of the world. More Spirit Leech there, and man, those Black Ark Corsairs just fighting to the absolute bitter end. Very, very impressive. Spearmen now can move in, try and get on these Cold One Knights perhaps, but Spirit Leech will do some nice damage to those Cold One Knights. A nice Gaze of Malice also. Beautiful damage. The Hellblaster volley gun somehow pulled through all of that and is safe, though. Holy cow. Credit to Sarmation for keeping that thing alive into this late game. Could end up being pretty key. Volkmar's a little bit wrapped up in this engagement, though, helping to support. And the Cold One Knights are actually starting to take damage over time. They're really not a great unit for grinding, but now concentrating up. Oh, man, but this is great. A beautiful bombardment from Volkmar. Excellently timed. Going to do a ton of damage to those Cold One Knights there as they attempt to pull away. Even though it doesn't do the best AP values, it's just good against cavalry in general, and the Empire's able to kind of stabilize this pocket a little bit. Hellblaster volley gun, oh man, after all of that, is going to maybe get caught by some Dread Spears here, perhaps. Hard to say, but yeah, Volkmar getting pushed around here pretty substantially. That being said, Shield of Faith helping to keep him alive. The Scourge Runner Chariots cleaning up some Sterling's Revenge here. Things are in the Empire's favor somewhat, but it's not completely out of reach for the Dark Elves. They still got quite a few units fighting here. These Knights of the Blazing Sun can now countercharge, though. And, oh man, that Hellblaster volley gun survived all of that. to be honest, almost acting as a sort of distraction, pulling a lot of Dark Elf units out of position, and Malekith now going to get a pretty good Soul Stealer on this pocket. Not a lot of low model count units necessarily, but at the same time, you know, they do also, it's just a lot of units in general. Anytime you can get it on a blob like that, that's pretty good. Dark Elves are sustaining, they're using their mobile units to try and chase down various routing tools here. We do have some Knights of the Blazing Sun coming back over on the far side there, and these Free Company as well can get back in the fight and start mopping up. But the fact that these Tattersouls, Sigmar Sons, are still here, and these other Flagellants also being quite healthy, it's going to make a big difference in the late game. Those unbreakable troops, that extra leadership is just so nice. But here, these Knights of the Blazing Sun a little bit caught up on spears. It looks like they're going to pull through, actually, and just directly charge these Cold One Knights. That is going to be a pretty atrocious trade on both sides. You can see the Knights of the Blazing Sun taking the south end of that engagement. They're able to do some good damage in response, though. Man, look at that shock damage. That high charge bonus coming into play, and they're basically just going to destroy each other. Do you think the Cold One Knights will probably come out ahead there? But as it is, the Empire Infantry, again, just the fact that there's a handful of it still hanging around, like, and these Free Companies still, for the moment, being forgotten about, but Volkmar actually doesn't have that much worse stats than Malekith, so it's not the worst fight in the world for him to stand and battle here for just a minute, especially. It's not too big of a deal. Spirit Leech now on those Dark Riders, and it looks like Sarmation's probably going to pull this one out. Just the Empire holding the line with all of this infantry, you know, despite the surround, utilizing various units to kind of get distractions almost. And yeah, really nice infantry engagements as well. Beautiful use of the Free Company and the various infantry to help defeat, you know, those Corsairs right at the start there. Kind of get a little bit of an asymmetric engagement. But Human Darkness on those Sisters of Singing Doom as they now get routed away. Malekith fighting a handful of Tattersouls who are all juiced up on Faith, 73 melee attack. And although they don't have the best AP values, they will be doing some damage. Looks like Volkmar is going to come through, probably try and get on those chariots, I would imagine. Yep, he can get in here. Same thing with the Amethyst Wizard. Try and dismantle these chariots manually. Uh-oh. Fancy Hat Wizard, though, is caught up by the Witch King. Here comes Steel Chair Volkmar, getting a nice charge, and it looks like we're going to hit army losses. So, although Malekith would have been able to tank out quite a few of those units, it was just, yeah, no chance there. Too many armies, too many units had been lost, and just a really close game. Beautiful back and forth, and really nice use of Free Company. The Hellblaster volley gun there. Yeah, man, despite the fact the Knights of Blazing Sun kind of got killed pretty horribly, I mean, they were distracting a greater amount of points, right? If you add Malekith plus the 3 Cold One Knights, that's more points than the Knights of Blazing Sun. So just the fact that they were not involved in that frontline engagement for long enough, you can see actually like 85 kills on Empire Swordsman, not bad at all, 65 on the Tattersouls. Just good kills kind of spread across the field, to be honest. GG. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Volkmar, the absolute Chad, showing he's boss. Unbreakable OP. Yeah, those Flagellants were actually really nice there. And Flagellants don't always pay for themselves. Most of the time I actually prefer veteran swordsmen. But Flagellants, they're good in some situations. Oh man, awesome. Too many units were sacrificed to hunt the Hellblaster. Yeah, perhaps, yeah. Got pretty aggressive, and Sarmation did a great job juking. That was cool. I like that quite a bit. Alright, so it looks like next competitor is up. And go ahead and check here. Okay. Get Happy Puppy in. Hellblaster Carnifex. Yes, exactly. Exactly. The Hellblaster would have done a lot of damage if he didn't try and get it, so I understand going for it very aggressively there. Yeah, and like getting the Knights of the Blazing Sun too, like they are value and they're strong units, so you do want to take them out. Just I don't know. Maybe I would have peeled off like one of the cavalry a little bit earlier to go support the infantry engagement. I don't know. That was such a close game though. Really nice back and forth, excuse me. Okay, so let me get the map locked in before I forget. We'll move it to El Angui. So, yep, we've got this one, and then Xiphos is up next, and that will do it for today. Go ahead and find him here. Here we go. We'll see. I think Xiphos is actually streaming himself playing quick battles. So, I don't know. Might not see my message, but looks like Sarmatians going Wood Elves against Happy Puppies Lizardmen. This is an interesting matchup. This is a really interesting matchup. I think Wood Elves actually have a really good matchup here. Probably one of the Lizardmen's worst matchups, I might say. No, I don't live in Minneapolis. I live in Salt Lake City. I am thousands of miles away from that. I don't know about thousands, actually. Maybe. Let's see. Let me look up Google. Yeah, it's about 1,200 miles. No, it's just UHGM because you're being argumentative. Most High Elf units, they have more than they used to. Silver and Guard, I think, are cost effective in the right situation, absolutely. And like most of their units, if you use them in the right place at the right time, you know, as they are meant to be used, they will pay for themselves. But generally, as a general rule, you know, rule of thumb, they are somewhat less cost effective than other factions. Yeah. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Hey, what's up, Hydro Franz? Long time no see, man. Always a pleasure to have you. Just hanging out, you know. Been having a grand old time. Had a lot of really nice battles today. Some beautiful plays. And yeah, now we're going to have second to last battle here. Sarmatian's Wood Elves facing off against Lizardmen of Happy Puppy. I'd imagine we'll probably see some happy lizard puppies. Yep, Guac, ding 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 ding. Guac hit it right on the head. Guac hit it right on the head. Oh no, I think we were talking about like Shadow Warriors, right? And before I had to already tell you once to stop arguing about Silverin Guard. So yeah, maybe it's just you. Yeah, it's been fun. I've had a great time. Great time. The Black Orc Big Boss, I do want to get some more battles with him in soon, but I've just been posting so much greenskins recently. Don't get me wrong, I love the greenskins. I'm just trying to give you guys a little bit of variety, right? So you'll be seeing probably every other replay will be like High Elves, Empire, or greenskins. I actually think between those three factions, that might be my go-to in tournaments now. It's like High Elves are probably my weakest out of those three, but greenskins and Empire now especially I feel very comfortable with. Like, I don't know, I'm considering probably for the next ECL, I might be out of town actually, but for the one after, I'm probably going to go Greenskins, Empire, I'd have to pick as my third. I could do Coast, honestly, as much as I hate playing Undead. In a competitive setting, I do think they're very strong, so maybe I would go Coast as my third option. Empire, Greenskins, and then Coast. It's a pretty strong three, I would say. You know what? Actually, let's just hide him forever. It's kind of useless to engage at this point, so we can just not have him here. If my YouTube chat is actually working, it's struggling a bit right here. The YouTube app is yeah, for PC. Least hated undead faction. Ooh, probably the Tomb Kings because they don't have lore of vampires. And actually, I love Tomb King's aesthetics. Like this constructs especially, they just look so cool. Like they are hands down some of the coolest looking models that Games Workshop has ever produced. Like that whole undead Egyptian aesthetic is just so cool. Ah, I love it. Yeah, Tomb Kings are the least offensive undead. Mazdamundi looking very thick up on Slock here, though. Got him absolutely tanking in here. Let's see, we've got Skink cohorts up front, Saurus warriors with shields. Got some Cold One Spear Riders out to the right flank here. Up front with some Chameleon Skinks. And yeah, that's pretty much it. As for the Wood Elves here up front with a Wild Vanguard Orion hiding in the woods. We've got a Branch Wraith as well. A whole bunch of War Dancers kind of in a column here in the woods. Some Spear Dancers as well, Wild Hunters, Wild Riders, and just a line of Eternal Guard distractions. We've also got some more Wild Riders over here, so very interesting. The pick of Mazdamundi, you might think is a little bit strange, like a big armored monster against the Wood Elves. Don't they have great armor-piercing missiles? And you are 100% right. But at the same time, Mazdamundi has tools to keep himself alive and also to deal a ton of damage to said archers. Ruination of Cities, Banishment, Shield of the Old Ones, Apotheosis, all that jazz. Not to mention, he himself has innate missile resistance, 27% with the Sunburst Standard of Hexawaddle active. And yeah, it's going to be good, as they say. But I'm really liking this kind of asymmetric deployment of Sarmatian. He can now come forward, start to pick away at various units with Orion here. Come forward with his Eternal Guard with shields as well. They do have a pretty good missile block chance. 55%, I believe it is. Yes, 55%. Small arms fire. And let's go ahead and try and refresh the chat here. Oh man, this YouTube Studio backend is just so bad, I have to say. Anyway. Yeah, Orion going to be taking some shots here. He does have Cloak of Isha, so he'll be pretty tanky in terms of taking that fire to the face. But the Wood Elves, without too many ranged units, can't really pressure the Lizardmen in too much. But Orion getting pretty deep in here, chasing far. I'm not sure, Samation may be trying to spring some sort of trap here, where he can then rush out with his wild units, kind of charge in and zone these Chameleon Skinks here. It's probably a pretty good play to try and take out the ranged of the Lizardmen. But yeah, Saurus pushing up and through right now, going to meet those Eternal Guards in melee. And here come the Branch Wraith. Here comes the Branch Wraith, rather. Getting in Orion all wild with his Foe Seeker. And here come the Wild Riders. Now we've also got the War Dancers deploying also. Yeah, man. YouTube chat just trolling me today. Okay, and as it stands, Samation's pulling back with his front line here, trying to pull the Saurus Warriors out of position. And this is a classic Wood Elf play, right? With Wood Elves, you never really want to take a straight up, heads up engagement. It's very much to their lore and their theme, right? That you want to always try and force your opponent off balance, very similar to the Beastmen in many ways. Force your opponent off balance and just get good engagements wherever you can. Beautiful Penumbral Pendulum, like 600 points worth of value right there on those skink cohorts is great. And Orion can also fight this Feral Bastiladon in melee here, so it's going to be an interesting one. You can see the War Dancers now making their way out of the forest, coming over here to try and engage potentially on the Saurus. And Wild Riders also charging through now as well. These Chameleon Skinks now being protected by the Cold One Spear Riders as they push up. So interesting. Both players kind of feeling each other out a little bit here, trying to catch mistakes. Wild Riders getting a nice charge here. Their mass of the Saurus will allow them to get some counter hits. Not all of the Wild Riders will be able to disengage there, but they have pretty good mass. They can disengage okay. Meanwhile, over here, Orion charging in, countercharging the Bastiladon as the Skink cohorts now follow up. We've also got the Saurus on a flanking position as well. These War Dancers can get in. They're going to get a pretty good charge here on these Saurus Warriors. Just the one War Dancer, though. They don't want to get overly blobbed up and get nuked by Mazdamundi, right? It's definitely a smart play there. But this poor Feral Bastiladon's getting mauled by Orion right now. Really uncomfortable situation. But if the Chameleon Skinks can come in, start to shoot these War Dancers, that's going to be very cost effective for them. Likewise, Mazdamundi getting all aggressive in the front line, trying to charge the ROR Wild Riders here. Instead, it looks like he's going to use a net on these Wild Riders and charge over there. So, good stuff. Happy Puppy looking to try and get some good engagements here. A little bit of a heal from the Branch Wraith as it pulls back. And now, here come the Cold One Riders. The War Dancers are going to be able to respond, having taken some damage from the Chameleon Skinks, but nicely done. Good banishment by Mazdamundi, and the Horn of the Wild Hunt currently active, although the Wild Riders are having to pull away, so they're not getting the advantage of their charge bonus. This one over here, though, Wild Hunters does get a good charge on these Saurus Warriors. Likewise, with these War Dancers, with their extra charge bonus as well, just absolutely mopping 1,600 points worth of Saurus. That is a great get right there. Meanwhile, on the back line, these Wild Riders get a good charge, but there's plenty of Saurus and Skinks here to stabilize. They might rout off that Feral Bastiladon, but thick boy Mazdamundi is still standing in the front line, absolutely completely healthy, healing himself up. So it's still anyone's game at this point. Both players got some pretty good engagements, but a beautiful placement on that Ruination of Cities. And currently Ruination of Cities is bugged to where it will always go in the same direction. All three casts will always go in the same direction. It is still random which direction it will go, but all three will go in the same one. So there, that was a pretty good usage. Was able to get some good value. Mazdamundi up to 65 kills already. Not too bad. Meanwhile, Chameleon Skinks just staying safe in the back line, continuing to provide that nice poison pressure. And on the upside now, you're not poisoning all of your own units all the time, which is just so nice. Huge change. Greatly benefits the Lizardmen in particular. They're feeling the effects of that here, but Saramation doing a great job keeping his Wild Riders mobile and active here. These Wild Riders, 56 kills, couple XP chevrons. Been able to just do work here. The War Dancers likewise as well, just absolutely doing work. But Mazdamundi, it's going to probably come down to Mazdamundi versus Orion, and I would probably give that to Orion, but that's not a guarantee. There are some RNG elements to that, like if Mazdamundi gets his charge or not, and just dice rolls in general. But it looks like Mazda might actually try and pull away from from Orion if you can, which would definitely be the right call. Try and play off of these missiles as much as you can. Use these Cold One Spear Riders to charge the War Dancers. They have pretty low melee defense, all things considered, so a good charge can get some work done. But here, don't have quite enough units to keep protecting these Chameleon Skinks. They have used up a lot of their ammunition already, but just getting beat up pretty bad. And yeah, nice apotheosis. Somewhere. Yep, a harmonic convergence actually on those Cold One Spear Riders. And man, look at them just turn around and nuke those Wild Riders. That was really nice. Actually, extra armor as well is quite helpful in this scenario, as there's not a whole lot of AP from the Wood Elves. So really, really nice use of that upgraded harmonic convergence. Don't often see that upgraded, but that is a good usage of that there. These War Dancers continuing to fight, though. Both players kind of trading units in the center, and another beautiful banishment from Mazdamundi. Excellent placement here. Going to catch up the flanks of both of these units and kind of force the Wood Elves to reposition. Does catch a handful of those Cold One Riders, which is unfortunate, but Mazdamundi, again, can help stabilize his troops here. Happy Puppy's doing a great job just keeping things going. Cycle charging as well with the Cold One Spear Riders, taking advantage of their 32 charge bonus. Honestly, not too much, but the Eternal Guards, they're really not that good on the offense, right? A beautiful charge as well from Mazdamundi, and look at the just sheets of blow darts coming in. Man, Chameleon Skink's rate of fire is so good. They can just keep up a continuous pressure against all these light Wood Elf units. They do need to be careful of the War Dancers, but likewise, as the War Dancers kind of chase here, they themselves are going to get absolutely lit up by those blow darts. Another ruination of cities. Yeah, might have actually hit those Eternal Guards a little bit there. That was pretty good. Over here, the Wild Hunters of Kurnos coming in, cleaning up the last of the Cold One Spear Riders. Nice little rear charge here from the Skink cohort. Prevent them, these Eternal Guards. Oh, nope, looks like they are still actually going to get engaged. But Penumbral Pendulum there, able to take out the Chameleon Skinks, and it does look like the Wood Elves are pulling ahead pretty decisively as the missiles start to get mopped up here. Last of the cavalry gets mopped up. Mazdamundi himself is pretty low. He does still have his healing sustain, but just the fact that basically the entire army's gone, and yep, that's army losses. So Happy Puppy puts up a valiant effort there. 118 kills on Mazdamundi, very, very nice. But yeah. It was going to be tough against Sarmatian, always, this matchup, and the Wood Elves do have a pretty good matchup here. Beautiful Wild Rider play, keeping them mobile and, ping-ponging around between different units. 124 kills for those Wild Hunters, mopping up shop. Great use of the War Dancers as well. 95 kills also for the Branch Wraith. Beautiful Penumbral Pendulums, and yeah, I like that. I like that Wood Elf build quite a bit. It's always a good time to see Orion chanting freedom and all that stuff. Ah, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, it looked like the Wood Elves could potentially use that, but they were able to stabilize and pull through. Okay, and that's that. Xiphos has not responded. Let me check to see if he is still streaming. He might not have seen my message. But regardless, I think that will probably be it for today. Let me check. Check here if Xiphos is still streaming. Da-da-da-da. Okay, it does look like he's streaming. I'm gonna go ahead and toss you guys over there. So for those of you guys who want some more hot multiplayer action, looks like Xiphos is in fact streaming on his Twitch channel, and he's currently in the middle of a heated Bretonnian battle, so yeah, we'll go ahead and can I get a browser capture of this real quick? Let's see. Just kidding. That's not what I wanted. I guess I can just do this for the time being. So yeah, Zinfos is here on Twitch streaming. You can see a very heated Bretonnia game that he's playing here. Actually got a pretty good advantage against Lisbon, and how about that? Just finished off a Dread Saurian. So I'm going to go ahead and toss you guys over to him. Be sure to check out Zinfos' stream, and yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Yeah, it's been, don't toss me. No one tosses a dwarf. Yeah, but yeah, big thanks to everyone once again for joining. Big thanks to all the players. You guys are the best. Absolutely had a grand old time, so we'll see you guys.